Good morning. I'm Eric Reese. We're 19 days away from Selection Sunday. ESPN's Joe Lunardi has Ohio State in the big dance as one of the first four byes. Buckeyes play at Iowa tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. On the court last night, number 14 Kansas beat fifth-ranked Houston 69-56. Darren Peterson had 14 points in 30 minutes for the Jayhawks. Three teams are within a game and a half of the top spot in the Big 12. We're 53 days out from Ohio State's spring game on Saturday, April 18th. On Monday, OSU AD Ross Bjork told the Columbus Dispatch Matt Patricia has agreed to a new deal to remain Buckeyes defensive coordinator in 2026. 11 Warriors says the new deal is in the range of $3 million per year, making him one of the highest coordinators in the sport and in the NFL. The scouting combine continues today in Indianapolis. 11 Buckeyes will interview and work out for league talent evaluators over the next week. This update is sponsored by Germain Toyota. For unbeatable sales and service, visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork and Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy, Austin Ward. My good buddy, Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
And the constant competition for your attention. If the NBA resuming the second half of the season, the NHL about to get theirs underway tomorrow. College basketball is heating up as we inch closer to the madness that is March. Here trots along the NFL with a scouting combine. Come watch athletes run. Come watch athletes jump. Come watch athletes answer awkward questions posed to them by people whose names we've never really heard before because they're like second or third scouts in some organizations. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yes, it is the NFL Scouting Combine this week in Indianapolis. Eric Reese, Ryan Baker, Isaiah Jacob with you for the next 3 hours. We will go out to Indy at 9:30 this morning. The general manager, the de facto general manager of your Cleveland Browns, Bo Bishop, will join us from the convention center, either on a phone or hopefully he's got a machine that can do the radio, and give us a little bit of what happened in night one, where there's probably wheeling and dealing and not much else because you've got interviews over the next couple of days and then the workouts don't actually start until Thursday. Baker, how much, first off, good morning. Second, how much do you look forward to the combine, if at all, yearly?
I don't know if it's something that I look forward to, but it is something that I find myself, if there is nothing else going on in a weekend, where I will sit and watch quite a bit of it as like background noise as you're doing things around the house. Now, it's not, if I have things to do, it's not something where, oh my gosh, I missed the scouting combine. But it is, it's almost like a baseball game to me,
Sure.
Where if I'm doing stuff around the house or if there's nothing else going on, I will throw it on and pay a little bit of attention to it.
It's what Rory McIlroy called the NFL's slow drip of content, where they will give it to you all week. Make this the most important thing in sport. And they're lucky, frankly, that they're a day removed of the Olympics. Closing ceremonies were on Sunday. You had the men's hockey and the women's hockey win gold for Team USA. You had women's hockey gold medal game breaking records. You had this Olympics for NBC, one of the most watched in years. And so all of that attention now can be elsewhere. And you've got, like I'd mentioned in the open, so many different entities competing for your eyeballs. And for this season, Baker, it could just be me, but college basketball's been as good as I can remember it. And you heard there in the update with Kansas having Darren Peterson for 30 minutes on the court last night.
Oh, boy.
Taking down Houston and really making the Big 12 one of the most open, if not most open, conferences in the country. Now, for Peterson, it's been like, it's interesting the way load management gets attributed to Peterson. It's interesting how the whole thing surrounding Darren Peterson's a very NBA discussion, right? An NBA superstar load managing an NBA superstar, a one and done in college, looking forward to June's NBA draft. And not too much fault of Peterson's, because this is just where we are with college basketball and college superstars. And that kind of making the drama off the court, I'll throw in the Charles Bediako stuff, making it just as interesting with the drama off the court as you're kind of getting on the court, which I don't think is a place that college basketball wants to be in, because you've seen what it's done to the NBA.
I'll push back a little bit on the through no fault of Darren Peterson.
Sure.
And just the part of
we didn't come up with any of this.
We don't know if he's really hurt, right? And you can have representation telling you this is what you should do, but you don't have to do that. In the middle of a game, pointing to the coach and saying, yeah, I'm done. You don't have to do that. Now, I don't know if there is anything wrong with Darren Peterson. And if there is, apologies to him for all of the media attention this has drawn and all of the slings and arrows that have come his way. But I feel like A.J. DeBanza and Cam Boozer are kind of in the same boat as Darren Peterson. They're not doing this.
No.
They're out there every day giving it all for their team. We just saw Cam Boozer out there on the court for Duke as they upset number 1 Michigan, and they become the number 1 team in the country. When A.J. DeBanza and BYU played Kansas and Darren Peterson back in the end of January, A.J. DeBanza didn't take himself out after the first half of that game. Darren Peterson did. So, again, if he is truly hurt and there is something going on with him that is keeping him from playing the game, then shame on all of us, but also come out here and say it. You want it to stop? Be like, this is what's going on. This is what's wrong. But other than that, that is on him. And like I said, you don't have to do what your representation is telling you to do.
And that's the dangerous part, too, and you talk about at the end there, is the counsel around you, especially for college athletes. And we're seeing this more and more with the agent becoming a thing, is the people around you can have so much influence, especially on college students. Once it gets to the pro level, it changes a little bit. But at the college athlete, the people around you aren't always the most professional people, especially right now in the NIL world where it feels like anyone can be counsel for these college athletes. And then the other half of it, too, is if he is injured, then why is he playing? Like, why have we went so long where he's played half the games? The majority of the time when a player is injured, he will sit for a portion of time. He will come back when he's almost 90%, maybe have a game or two where you play a limited amount of minutes, and then you come back to full strength. Why have we went such a long period of time where he's playing in half of the games, he's playing 20 minutes, limited minutes? Why not just sit and then at the second half of the season, be fully healthy? And so it'll be interesting to see how this develops as the tournament comes up along, because that's when we're going to see if he's fully healthy in the tournament, he should play all the minutes. But is he going to? And is he fully healthy or is he injured? Why have they not disclosed that either?
Friend of the program, Mike DeCourcy, had this in the Sporting News Monday of a possible 1,000 minutes in the Kansas Jayhawks 25-26 season. Gifted freshman Darren Peterson has played 435. So that was before last night where he played 30 minutes. So give him 465 of a total 1,040 minutes possible for Kansas. And this is an NBA personnel executive telling the Sporting News, quote, "You'd have to be naive not to be concerned. One of the scariest things in the league is a guy who has to be 100% to play." So, Bake, to your point, the other two guys really in a 3-man race to the number 1 overall pick in June's NBA draft. You've got one of 3 saying, I'm only going to play if I'm 100%.
And I understand it's different sports. And I also understand that I love the sport of hockey. But it's tough to see this after you see Jack Hughes
the
picking
last
his
48
teeth
hours have been
off
bad.
of the ice and then going and scoring the game-winning goal in the gold medal game, which, by the way, he's not getting paid to be there and do that.
No.
He's actually getting paid to play for the New Jersey Devils, who are probably peeing down their leg a little bit when they see him on the ice face down with his teeth on the ground.
Yeah, with Jack Hughes doing what he did, and I forget who the Canadian player was that got his face similarly broken by a high stick on Sunday. When they continue to play with that, then you kind of look to Sunday, and Devin Royal's out, and you're still not 100% sure why he's missed time, if he's actually got the flu, if he actually can't go, then what's he doing sitting around people? And then, with all of this discussion about load management in the NBA, and now that it's kind of percolated into college hoops, you go, well, can we just be tougher? Because, again, you're never going to be NHL hockey player tough, because that's tough on a level of the borderline insane. But you would just look to these professional athletes, and that's what Darren Peterson is. I don't make any bones about it, but maybe be a little tougher. Because, yes, to the point that the NBA executive, the NBA scout made to Michael DeCourcy, it's very concerning if a guy says, I've got to be 100% or else I'm not going out there.
And I think the point, too, you mentioned professional. Like we said, Jack Hughes and those guys that were playing in the Olympics, they weren't getting paid to be over there. Now, they do get paid handsomely to play in the NHL,
Sure.
but they were not getting paid over there. Darren Peterson is getting paid handsomely. Like, it's one thing if you're doing that for free. If this was true college athletics back in the day, you're not getting paid for anything. Yeah, you're getting a lot of money right now, dude. Maybe try to be on the court a little more.
So we'll go, again, to Indianapolis at 9:30 today. Dom Tiberi is somewhere in the Pacific or in the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico/America, on the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. We'll try to get him at 10:30. Olympic ratings are gigantic. We'll discuss that in the 10 o'clock hour. We'll do some real truth at 10. But we had discussed, what was going to happen with Ohio State's coaching staff over the last couple weeks, but it looks to be finalized. We'll give you the final piece of that coaching puzzle next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
I love Right Pack Credit Union because they're solution-driven.
I feel valued as a member.
They're focused on the latest technology and the personal connections.
Experience benefits that go beyond banking with Right Pack Credit Union. Just ask our actual members.
I definitely recommend Right Pack to all my family and friends as a credit union of choice.
Visit one of our Columbus area Right Pack Credit Union member centers near you. Based on individual members' experiences, results may vary.
Hey folks, it's Berm here from 97.1 The Fans, Austin and Berm Show. Last week I was on the road visiting a recruit and I saw one of my old fast food favorites on the side of the road and was hungry for lunch, and I thought to myself, this place used to just call my name, and I thought, hey, why not stop in and have some? I'm on maintenance right now with Awaken 180 and I'm allowed to eat it. So I pulled in, I ordered the usual, I sat there and unwrapped it in the restaurant, and I was so excited. And then halfway through it, I thought, why am I eating this? And it wasn't even in a guilty way. It was more confusion because it didn't taste like I remembered. It didn't hit like it used to. I wasn't craving it anymore, and I really wasn't excited about it. And I just kind of stopped wanting it, and that's when it clicked. Awaken 180 didn't just help me drop 35 pounds. It changed how I look at food. I'm 3 weeks into maintenance, and I haven't put a pound of that 35 back on, and I finally understand what works for me. It's not about I can't. It's about not wanting it the same way anymore. I'm not craving the bad. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Germain Honda of Dublin cares about your vehicle and your time, and they do that with same-day service with no appointment necessary. Sell them your vehicle at their buying center and get paid as soon as the same day. Shop great lease and finance offers on all the Honda favorites, like the Passport, the Odyssey, and the redesigned Pilot. Service it, sell it, or drive something new. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270, or online at germainhondaofdublin.com.
Would you enjoy watching a football game if the officials were paid a bonus for every flag they threw? Or a basketball game where the refs got paid for every foul they called? Okay, how about hiring a furnace and AC company that pays its technicians by the number of parts they can sell you? Hi, this is Dennis, president of Care Heating and Cooling, and today, this is how many companies operate. They call it performance pay, and it rewards technicians by paying them more for billing you more. Why is this bad? Because it abuses your trust in a technician to be treated fairly and honestly. At Care, we've been family-owned for 31 years and have always paid our technicians by the hour for repairs. We'll show you exactly what needs to be fixed and why, and give you our low upfront cost before we start. And unlike other companies, our technicians will never be rewarded for throwing more flags. Our Central Ohio-based staff is here for you 7 days a week. Care Heating and Cooling. Book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com or call us at 1-800-COOLING. When you need a company you can trust.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center. A mix of sun and clouds today with highs in the upper 30s and breezy winds. And then for tonight, a short window will see a chance of rain and snow overnight. Most of it should be finished before you even wake up. Little to no accumulation is expected, otherwise mostly cloudy with lows around freezing. For Wednesday, will be mostly cloudy, becoming sunny throughout the day and breezy with highs getting into the upper 40s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Isaiah Jacob, rolling with you today until noon. We're going to go in about 15 minutes out to Indianapolis and chat with Bo Bishop, the Browns' de facto general manager. So, again, that'll be about 9:30. And then the actual general manager of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Berry's going to speak at noon 30. Todd Monken's going to take the podium tomorrow, but at 3:15 today, the head coach of your Cincinnati Bengals, Zach Taylor, will speak with accumulated media in Indianapolis. You got 11 Buckeyes that are going to be looking to drive up their draft stock for that April 23rd draft in Pittsburgh. You had Mel Kiper come out with his mock today. No real surprise how much he loves the Buckeyes. He's got Caleb Downs going 2 overall to the New York Jets. He's got Arvell Reese going 4th to the Tennessee Titans. Carnell Tate going 6th to the Cleveland Browns. The Commanders at 7. Sonny Styles.
I think that's a little surprising that you have 4 Buckeyes in the top 7 and Mel's. That's
the Styles pick is surprising there, but everybody else, I'm like, no, that makes sense.
I don't, and I do think it makes sense. But four Buckeyes going in the top 7,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's historic, but I would say it is, right?
We'd have to look. We'll try to get top men on it before the end of the program, and it's mock. So Tyvis had the phrase this morning, silly season. That's all really any of this is. The combine, the mocks, the interview process, the running 40 times. I do feel like with the first round of the NFL draft, somebody's going to fall in love with a guy because he had okie dokie college stats, but he can run real fast. And so they'll put more emphasis on how fast the guy can do a 40 or how many reps can he hit at the bench press or his vertical more so than his college production. And it'll come back to bite them when he doesn't pan out in the league. So all of this is the most speculative in the world. But again, we'll get Bo on that whole process coming up here in about 10 minutes.
Real quick, speaking of the linebackers with Ohio State, I was kind of surprised to see Sonny and Arvell are working out this weekend. They're participating in everything. And I thought that was especially for Arvell Reese. Because I think Sonny Styles, if you picked Sonny Styles at 7, I don't think that's a reach, and I think you're going to be really happy with that pick. But most places have Sonny Styles more mid-round of the first round. So there's probably some room to grow and go up the charts a little bit for Sonny Styles. Most mock drafts are not like Mel Kiper. They have Arvell Reese going number 2. So it's almost like, what does Arvell have to gain from participating this weekend? I thought it was really interesting and good on both of them for saying they're going to work out.
And they had their coach, James Laurinaitis, was on with T-Bone and Tyvis this morning. They asked him who's going to run the faster 40 between Arvell and Sonny.
I think Arvell Reese runs the faster 40 by a slight amount. But I think the overall, testing, when you count in the vert and the broad and all that, I believe you'll look at all the numbers and be like, holy smokes, what did Sonny Styles just do?
Yeah, Sonny, a physical specimen of no surprise to anybody that has followed the Buckeyes or that listens to this program. And I think it'll be a lot of that what helps his draft stock and what impresses NFL talent evaluators in Indianapolis this week. The man that commanded Ohio State's defense last season, Matt Patricia, will return to the Buckeyes in 2026. This was Ross Bjork telling Joey Kaufman of the Columbus Dispatch yesterday. They've reached a new deal with Matt Patricia. The Buckeyes have not yet announced the terms of the new contract. 11 Warriors says it's anticipated he'll make at least $3 million in a contract to make him one of college football's highest paid defensive coordinators. Bjork on Patricia, quote, always committed to staying at Ohio State, adding from Bjork about Patricia, quote, I know his family loves it. His kids had fit in well. We just kept a constant dialogue before we got into an agreement with him, end quote. Now, I don't think it was ever fully in doubt, but you had so many different jobs. 10 NFL teams changed head coaches in this last cycle, which is one of, if not the most in a long time. You thought at any of those situations, Matt Patricia would do well to slide in as their defensive coordinator. You know, we talked about the Raiders kind of being that last team where if they didn't have a defensive coordinator solidified, then that could be a spot, you know, with part owner Tom Brady and his relationship with Patricia. But it'll be Matty P back for Ohio State in 2026, and that really kind of puts a ribbon on Ohio State's coaching staff. And, you know, you'll have the same question you had last season. Boy, a bunch of Buckeyes, a bunch of silver bullets are going to be drafted. However, Baker, will they be able to replace this? Comes a reload, right?
Yeah, and I think you had this, like you mentioned last year. You're replacing 8 starters on defense. 15 draft picks. We talked about all those things, and they seem to do it just fine. I have trust and faith in Matt Patricia that he is going to. Are you going to have a Caleb Downs? Are you going to have an Arvell Reese? No, you're not. But I have faith that he is going to scheme his defense towards the Earl Littles and the Terry Moores and the Peyton Pierces and the Kenyatta Jacksons. So will Ohio State be the number 1 defense in the country? I don't know about that. Will they still be a top 10 defense in the country? Yeah, I would guess they would, because I have faith in Matt Patricia and the talent they've accumulated.
And this was James Laurinaitis earlier, their linebackers coach, talking with T-Bone and Tyvis on Matt Patricia returning to the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Matt obviously for a long time. He worked me out here when I was coming out pro day and kind of was here. And I just know a lot of guys who had played for him, knew the football mind that he was. And man, you want to talk about combine prep. I mean, what a resource for our guys to not only talk to, you know, a former head coach, D coordinator, but I mean, think about how many combine interviews Matt Patricia's done, right? And not only as a head coach, but a GM. And so, and he's just so selfless when it comes to his time. I think that's been probably the statements you've heard from a lot of our guys, is that he really does value the relationships with the players, is kind of what you've noticed. And he is, I know for a fact, like he won't come out and say it, but I know he does Zooms with all of our guys going to Indy and trying to prepare them and kind of stump them and do all the things that these guys are going to do in these interviews so that they're prepared. And, you know, it takes a lot of time. And while you're also trying to recruit and get your, you know, defense, trying to figure out who we're going to be this spring, identity-wise as a defense. And so, like, he is just a guy that is invested in the dudes, and they feed off that. And I think whenever you're a player and you have a coach who is invested in you and spends time, like, you can get coached harder by them because you know they care. And I think Matt's, obviously, his football acumen speaks for itself, but he's just been a joy to work with.
It's a bad job out of me introducing him as College Football Hall of Famer, James Laurinaitis. And it's interesting you hear him talk about being worked out by Matt Patricia when James was a player here. It's also been fun to hear like Tyvis and Joshua Perry, who will join us tomorrow, talk about being worked out by Matt Patricia when he was with the New England Patriots, and just the idea that they can get that kind of hands-on coaching, not only as they prepare for the NFL, but for the guys that you had mentioned that are playing or looking to play for the Buckeyes this season, and some of those defenders. I think 7 of the 11 guys going to Indy from Ohio State's defense also got the chance to work in that NFL scheme with an NFL talent evaluator. Now get to go impress other NFL talent evaluators by what they did with Matt Patricia. Also works to Matty P in that you thought if this at best, Baker, would be a couple of seasons, Matt Patricia comes in, works his magic, and then is on to another job probably in the NFL. So far, so good.
I mean, 1 for 1, right? You didn't win the national championship, but I don't think that was because of your defense at all. And I'm, for one, super happy that they got this deal done, that none of the NFL teams came calling with an offer or a situation that was one that would lure him away from Ohio State. Glad that I would say there's no doubt he's going to be the highest paid defensive coordinator in football after this
Certainly
deal. We obviously
of it.
don't have the numbers, but I would say that it would be the highest paid defensive coordinator, and through his 1 year, well earned. And hopefully, maybe this is a deal where you get him not only for this season, but the following season as well. And then the guy we just heard from, maybe he's ready to take over that role. Or a Tim Walton, or somebody on staff is ready to roll.
Yeah, there are several lieutenants for Matt Patricia that you could easily elevate once it does, and once we all think he's going to take another job. But again, we don't exactly know his why, and so maybe that's something that I think he's got that coaches clinic. I know when he was on the poster, that did it for me, Bake, where there wasn't any more question. If Matt Patricia was going to be in Columbus for the spring game, running an Ohio State coaches clinic, if an NFL team was going to hire him, he was going to need to be with that NFL team this week at Indianapolis. But such will not be the case anymore. He's going to be your defensive coordinator. And, you know, for the team, for the players, for Ryan Day, it helps to have that sort of figurehead to make sure that everything goes swimmingly during a college football season, that things go wrong all the time. Things go haywire all the time. But if you have a professional operation, such they do at Ohio State, it helps to have and retain those kinds of people like Matt Patricia when they perform to the level they did in year one.
Reese, we have a little breaking news. I don't know if this is necessarily combine news, and I think this was kind of expected, but it sounds like the Falcons are releasing Kirk Cousins on the first day of the league year. So Kirk Cousins will not be with Kevin Stefanski in Atlanta this upcoming season.
It was interesting with news yesterday that they were going to franchise tag Kyle Pitts, who had a tight end salary, because he had Kirk Cousins for 8 games last season and Michael Penix Jr. for 9 games last season. But certainly Cousins, one of several veteran quarterbacks that are going to have a lot of discussion about him this upcoming week, or starting today, probably starting yesterday. My guess is that was news last night that broke this morning, that they'll have discussions of and on this week at the NFL Scouting Combine, which is where we will go to in 2 minutes. Talk to Bo Bishop in Indianapolis for the NFL Combine. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Hey, Columbus, big news. For a limited time, get Uber One free for a full year so you could save on food and rides. That's a $96 value on us. Just use code Columbus. Get 1 year of $0 delivery fees, 10% off eligible food and grocery orders, and up to 6% Uber One credits on rides. Sign up for this limited time offer today using code Columbus and save big with Uber One. Offer valid through 3/31/26. Savings and $0 delivery fee on eligible orders and rides only. Fees and terms apply. See app for details.
The Reds are on the radio.
And he caught it! No way! What a grab! Noelvi Marte! Ellie De La Cruz is on his horse, and they're waving him to the house.
Suarez swings, he drives this.
It is gone!
1. Eugenio Suarez puts the Reds on top. With an old friend back in the clubhouse, it's time for spring training baseball. Hear the action on your home of the Reds.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Well, what's up on a Tuesday was something that I didn't have at the beginning of the show. The NFL's league year officially begins at 4 o'clock on March 11th. And if you missed what Baker said there in the last segment with the Atlanta Falcons planning to make Kirk Cousins a free man at 4 o'clock on March 11th, I wonder if he now becomes the talk of Indianapolis, at least in the days leading up to players actually doing drills on the field at Lucas Oil Stadium. We go out now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Not sure if you want to call it that, but Bo Bishop.
Oh, hi, boys.
Friend of the program, de facto Browns general manager. Is that where all the discussion goes, Bo?
I think the Cousins thing was probably pretty well predicted that this is when it was going to happen with the start of the new league year. I don't necessarily believe that this closes the door on him returning to Atlanta. This is a lot of the stuff that's happening right now is salary cap manipulation that's being done. Not to say that he'll be back or won't, who knows, but he does have a relationship with Stefanski going back to his time in Minnesota. So I don't know that it necessarily means that he's definitely gone there. I think that most people anticipated, that news that became official here in the last half hour or so to be the way that it was going to play out. So I think it was probably expected by most of the league.
So I can't start attaching my Kirk Cousins, Cleveland Browns red yarn just yet?
Not yet. No, Pepe Silva. Keep Pepe Silva in the closet for another week or so. We'll see how this week's goes. Then perhaps you can bring it out.
Isn't it a little interesting, Bo, that Kevin Stefanski, for so long we thought, Kirk Cousins, he'd be a perfect fit with Stefanski in Cleveland. Then he goes to Atlanta where Cousins is, and I know you said the door's not closed, but they say bye-bye.
Yeah, well, it's really a salary cap thing. Like, don't get too hung up on it. It's really just a salary cap thing where the move had to be made now to do it. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that he's going to go back there. I don't know. I assume that Kevin was hired in Atlanta primarily because of his relationship with Matt Ryan and the fact that they have familiarity going all the way back to, years in terms of their family. So I think that's probably a part of it. He's a two-time coach of the year. I'm sure they want to get the most out of Penix that they can get. Cousins played pretty well down the stretch, and it does beg the question of something that I'm going to be very curious about this week over here, and that is how many quarterbacks actually become available. I was looking at some free agent lists, like Malik Willis was like number 10 overall free agent. It's like, man, he hasn't really played much, but this is a league that is so starving for quarterback, and I think what happened with Seattle with Sam Darnold is something that the rest of these teams see, and they go, hey, there's another path here. We don't have to necessarily get Joe Burrow number 1 overall. We don't have to get Josh Allen in the top 10. What if somebody missed on one of these guys? And so I think that's a little bit how the Malik Willis conversation comes up. I think that's what could happen with Mac Jones. To me, the two guys that are going to be the most interesting is how do Tua Tagovailoa and Kyler Murray and those two operations find a way out for both of them, and what does that look like? I think most of the league expected that Cousins would be available and then be able to make a decision on his own in terms of where if he's going to continue playing, where that would be. There's a lot of people that think he could be a star in media, so maybe he hangs it up too. Who knows?
Bo, we'll go back to the Combine in a second, but you had the news yesterday of Matt Patricia staying on at Ohio State. It's 11 Warriors saying it's a deal that would make him one of, if not the highest paid coordinator in college football. Something I think we all expected, but just your thoughts on that becoming official.
I think that, look, we're very blessed. I think that staff was attempted to be rated over the course of the last month. And I think Matt Patricia had a lot of interest around the league. I think he had a lot of interest in college football. I know some of his assistants on that defensive side had a lot of interest from the National Football League. And I think it's a little bit of a sign of how serious Ohio State is to make sure that they are at the top of the sport in terms of compensation for their staff. They have to be. That's part of it. Now, as we all know, and we talk about this all the time, the rubber's going to meet the road on some of this stuff. Like, how can you pay for all this stuff? And that's Ross's job. But for now, obviously thrilled to have Matt back. I think that it's funny, you're over here and you see Cade McDonald in the first round. You see Sonny Styles. You see Caleb Downs. You see Arvell Reese. You see David Igbinosun, who's got a lot of buzz over here, who could, potentially play himself into the second round by the time all this is done. And you look at that defense and you say, God, they replaced all those guys from the previous year. This may be a bigger undertaking, getting this defense up to speed when you talk about guys who are going to have to plug and play all over the roster and replacing guys like Downs, Styles, and Arvell, who were that incredible triumphant. Now that is going to fall at Patricia's feet, and we're going to need young guys to step up in a big way. Obviously, they hit the portal too. So I'm very fascinated to see how this defense comes together, because when you're over here and you look at the defensive talent that's here, it's like, my God, this might have been the year. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable amount of talent that was over here in Scarlet and Gray.
But we talked about Davis and Igbinosun yesterday, and you said sounds like there's a lot of buzz around him right now. I know you haven't been there long. What's the feeling on the Buckeyes in this draft class?
5 first-rounders. People love them. I was talking to NFL evaluator last night, and just without a question, Carnell Tate, number 1 receiver. No question, immediately, Carnell Tate, number 1 receiver. Caleb, as I predicted yesterday, guys, remember we were talking about this, I think Caleb Downs is going to be the most divisive prospect in this whole thing, because he's 5'11", 190. Right? And that's just the truth, right? And so he's not an in-the-box guy, but sometimes at Ohio State he could do that. So what do you do with somebody who has that size, who's just the ultimate football player and is always in the right place at the right time? Guy I was talking to last night was like, look, his size is a concern, but you watch the tape, it doesn't look like a concern. So how long can he do that? I mean, those are the questions that are going to start to be asked. So I think the Downs part of it is going to be fascinating, and I think that by the time this week's over, there's going to be some sort of consensus on him, but then it'll all get thrown out the window, and there will be a new consensus by the time you get to the draft, because I think most people would acknowledge he's the best football player here. It's just, what do you do with him, and how do you maximize him at this level?
Speaking of the Buckeyes, and we know you're the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, if Carnell Tate is there at pick number 6, do you think that's their dream?
That's my dream. I mean,
it's a good one.
If I'm assistant to the traveling secretary at best, that's what I want. I'm going to talk to Andrew Berry here in a few hours, and I'm going to push that pretty hard. I mean, I think he is. I think Carnell Tate, worst case scenario, is T. Higgins. I think that's worst case, and that's pretty dang good. So he's a number 1. It's something. If you're from the Browns' perspective, and if all of a sudden you have Carnell Tate and Quinshon Judkins and Harold Fannin and Isaiah Bond, who flashed a little bit. If you watch the All-22, was open a lot. Jerry Jeudy. You draft a second tight end somewhere in that 3rd round. Maybe that's a Max Clare, something like that. And then you get the 2 tackles at 24 and in the 2nd round, and then you fill it up with free agents. Or if there's a trade out. But if Carnell Tate's there at 6, that would be a very difficult one, I think, to pass on. I think he's as sure a thing as you're going to find in terms of an NFL. Is he Jamar Chase? No, probably not. He's probably not Jackson Smith-Njigba either. But, man, if you tell Browns fans you could have T. Higgins or a player of that ability over the next 10 years, my guess is you'd all sign up for it.
We'll stick with the Browns angle here, Bo. Is there anybody else outside of maybe Kirk Cousins that the Browns, and this is early, right? Where do discussions go through the remainder of the week for a quarterback if they want to seek one?
Yeah, I think you're open for business on everything, right? I'm sure you're poking in on everything. I'm sure of the guys that potentially could trade, kind of the one that I could see making some sense a little bit would be Kyler. If you just go back to Todd Monken's press conference, one thing that he talked about was, especially in the red zone, the ability to have somebody who can take off and run. That's such a valuable thing. And so I think of the guys that are available now, and I think Malik Willis is going to be too rich for their blood just with everything else they got going from a cap standpoint. So my hunch is that if you're picking one of those guys, that may be Kyler. But again, I don't even know what the machinations of that look like, right? How does he get out of Arizona? That's why I think him and Tua conversation is so fascinating. Not like Tua's a fit for Cleveland, but I do think Kyler's got a hose. He can whip it. He can run. So potentially he could be a little bit of a fit there. But I think all of those things are in play. You heard ownership. They were on the Big Play show last night talking about a 3-person quarterback competition with Dylan and Shador and Deshaun. I'll be interested to see what Todd Monken has to say about that when he talks tomorrow. I think that's pretty fascinating. So I think you're open for business on everything, but obviously they do have constraints in terms of the salary cap, that there are some gymnastics that you can do around them, but inevitably you do have to pay the piper at some point, and that's kind of where they are as a franchise.
Bo, this one isn't necessarily combine related, but the UFL this morning announced a bunch of rule changes, including the banning of the tush push. Now, the NFL has said they are not planning on doing that as of right now. I'm going to give you a couple of these rule changes, and which one do you see coming to the NFL first? Okay. They're going to do a 4-point field goal, so that's going to be any successful field goal from 60 yards or further, 1 foot in bounds on a legal catch. Red zone penalties, where if you get a penalty in the red zone, it's half the distance to the goal, or no punting inside the 50-yard line. And if you cross the 50-yard line and then get pushed back across it the other way, you still can't punt.
Wow, that's a lot going on. I tell you, the one that I wish the NFL would do is the 1 foot inbound catch. I just think that would simplify it. We have so much discrepancy when it comes to what's a catch, what isn't. I do like the college catch, but at the same time, the NFL's been 2 feet down forever. I don't think you're ever going to see the NFL do a 4-point 60-yard field goal, because I don't think the NFL wants any more special teams than they already have. The tush push one, I think eventually they could get there. I think litigating that's going to be really hard, though. To me, the simpler way to handle that would be no football player with the ball can be pushed by his own teammate forward. I think that would solve that on the whole field, right? So no matter where you are in the field, you can't be pushed from behind. That would probably solve that. And maybe that's something that we see at some point. I tell you, though, you remember this. The XFL had a bunch of stuff that they tried, a bunch of trial and error, and the NFL picked up some of it. So you never know, and I love to see these leagues throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks a little bit. The tush-push thing is going to be interesting if that is ever something. But at the same time, they might be able to just wait out Kyler. Or I'm not Kyler, Jalen. Maybe just wait him out. How many years does he have left to where he's able to do it? They weren't as effective last year without Kelsey. So maybe it's something that just kind of fixes itself, sort of,
It is pretty crazy, Bo, that a play that only one team can do has so much consternation around it.
It is, yeah. And it's, and I think that if, I don't know why, if it's so easy, why don't more do it, right? That's kind of the thinking. So that's probably the way that goes. I'm going to tell you guys this, and I know we're up against it. If you ever said to yourself, could Indianapolis and Indiana do something dumber? Well, they have. They've done something dumber. And I've got a whole rant that we don't have time for the whole rant. But if you're familiar with downtown Indianapolis, the convention center is kind of in the middle of all of it. There is a major thoroughfare that you used to be able to walk from the convention center straight down to Harry and Izzy's, down to St. Elmo's. They have blocked that entire road off.
Yes.
These idiots. So you have to now go around a block to go backwards. So what used to be a straight walk down the street is now essentially a 2.5-block walk around. Guys, it's the NFL Combine. It's here every year. How do you do this now? By the way, they have the Final Four next month, these clowns. We just keep giving them stuff. They just keep doing it. More and more stuff. It's absolutely nothing I ever want to do in Indiana, and now they can't even get the thoroughfare straight from the convention center down to Harry and Izzy's.
Well, they do it. Fail. They do it now. They have it ready for the Final Four, right?
Oh, Reese, dude, I know we don't have time. I got 6 minutes on the state line that I cannot wait to discuss with what the idiots have done over there.
Can we get you on tomorrow at 9:30?
Your deal. Sold.
Right.
Sold.
We'll do some Indiana conversation and more from the Scouting Combine. Bo Bishop, our guest. Bo, enjoy the wonderful city of Indianapolis.
I won't. I'll see you.
We'll talk to you tomorrow, bud. And he joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. I was going to try to tweak him a little bit about Indianapolis, but it turns out you don't really have to, because Indianapolis tweaks everybody that goes west to that city. We'll do a little bit more reaction to what Bo said coming up next. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 35 years, I've seen it all. Car crashes, work injuries, defective products, medical mistakes, lives flipped upside down in an instant. But I've also seen something else, the power of fighting back, the power of winning. Over $30 billion recovered and counting. Size matters, reputation matters, results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
You got this. Breathe. You got this. You got this.
In the moments that truly matter, what do? Rise to the occasion. Ohio Health. It's time.
Remember what sunshine feels like? Windows open, birds chirping, everything looking fresh and new? Spring is closer than you think, and so are those home projects on your to-do list. Maybe winter left its mark, a small leak that's getting bigger, shingles that didn't survive the snowstorms, or siding that's clearly seen better days. Whatever your home is facing, our team of professionals at Newman Roofing are here to help. For more than 34 years, Newman Roofing has been helping homeowners protect what matters most. From your first phone call, you'll notice the difference. Passionate and committed people who care about doing the job right. And with over 1,000 five-star Google reviews, you don't have to take our word for it. If your roof, siding, or gutters need attention, call the family company you can trust, Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof this spring, get a Newman roof.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Concerned about your investment's rate of return? Let us show you exactly how your portfolio is performing. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Birmingham Berm from the Austin and Berm Show on 97.1 The Fan. I hit maintenance mode after dropping 35 pounds with Awaken 180. The Awaken 180 coaches made it simple. Now pizza and ice cream are back, but the cravings aren't. That's a complete mindset shift. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Registration for the Fan 5K is now open. Join your favorite personalities June 20th at Otterbein University. The Fan 5K features a medal, t-shirt, free race photos, and a post-race party.
Get your spot today at 971therace.com.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Germain Honda of Dublin cares about your vehicle and your time, and they do that with same-day service with no appointment necessary. Sell them your vehicle at their buying center and get paid as soon as the same day. Shop great lease and finance offers on all the Honda favorites like the Passport, the Odyssey, and the redesigned Pilot. Service it, sell it, or drive something new. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road just south of 270 or online at germainhondaofdublin.com.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here. You've heard me talk about High Bank's award-winning spirits, but let's talk about the food. High Bank delivers incredible meals and handcrafted cocktails in a space that works for every part of your week. Start with happy hour, drinks with friends, come back for brunch worth planning your weekend around, then stay for dinner. And get this, kids eat half off every Monday. Great food, award-winning drinks, a reason to come back time and time again. Make a reservation today at a location near you at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
Reeser and Baker rolling with you on a Tuesday edition of the program as Bo rages against the city of Indianapolis. The second day of the NFL Scouting Combine. They've got interviews today and tomorrow. On-field workouts start on Thursday. I heard from Bo there at 9:30. If you miss anything from the program, wherever it is you get your podcast, you can go back and listen. We also can be found on YouTube. Any show that you may have missed from any of our programs, you can find it at WBNS Radio on YouTube. Thanks to everybody for always following along and interacting with our YouTube chat. That's where you'll be able to send your Hey Guys tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We also do an email segment every Thursday, but I am contractually obligated to not tell you where to send those emails. I am told 971thefan.com has a fun link if that is what you want to do. Again, Thursday at 10 o'clock, we'll open the mailbag. Tomorrow at 11 is when we will do Hey Guys. Baker, when we were talking to Bo in the last segment, you had thrown at him some new UFL rule changes for this upcoming season. And I wanted you to just rehash those for our listeners who may have missed that, and a little bit of a discussion about the tush push, which the UFL has heroically banned.
Yeah, the UFL is banning the tush push from this year, and the exact wording on it: the league has eliminated the tush push, a play in which after the quarterback takes the snap, he immediately drives forward as the offensive line surges and is assisted by additional players behind him who physically push him forward into the surging offensive line. Some other things they are changing. They're going to have a 4-point field goal. So any field goal of 60 yards or further is going to be worth 4 points. They're going to adopt the NCAA's 1-foot inbounds catch rule, which I would think if you're a player in the UFL trying to make it to the league, that would not help you. I would think you would want it to be 2 feet so you could practice that and get you more ready for NFL style of play. Red zone penalties. The UFL will reinstitute the rule of half the distance to the goal for penalties committed in the red zone, which reverts back to current NFL rules. Punting. No punting inside the 50-yard line. No punts will be allowed from anywhere inside the 50-yard line. This rule does not apply after the 2-minute warning of either half, which, why change it then? If you're going to have it, especially have it then, wouldn't that make things more exciting? Once the ball is made ready for play inside the 50-yard line, a team cannot punt, even if a subsequent penalty or loss of yardage moves the ball behind the 50. So once you get into the other team's territory, you're not allowed to punt, even if you retreat into your own side of the field. Overtime, 3 attempts. Teams will alternate attempts from the 5-yard line. If after 3 attempts for each team, the tie has not been broken, the teams will alternate attempts until there is a winner. The home team will have the choice to go on offense or defense first. A coin toss will be implemented in lieu of home team choice. They're actually adding a 3-point conversion as well after a touchdown. So the normal extra point, the normal 2-point where the ball is placed at the 2-yard. Then if you want to go for 3, the ball is going to be placed at the 8-yard line.
I get what the UFL is trying to do in making their product unique and try to make things more exciting from the standpoint of it's spring football. You've got to throw whatever you can at the wall. But to your point about the catch, only having to have 1 foot in bounds relative to what the NFL does, if this is going to be for a lot of these players a stepping stone into the NFL, you might want to have similar rules in that fashion. But I think it was a couple years ago, are we into the new kickoff rule being something that they did adopt, the NFL, from the UFL. I also love how, we haven't talked much about the UFL until the Columbus Aviators come to town. Once their season begins, we're going to be your program for Aviators football. The tush push, not sure if that was the thing in the UFL last season, but Bo had brought up a good point with the NFL tabling that discussion, thinking that maybe they'll just wait out Jalen Hurts. And once Hurts is gone from Philadelphia, there's not going to be another quarterback that can squat 600 pounds, so they're not going to have to worry about that sort of thing. And because none of the other teams can really do it to success. Like the Bills might have the beefiest quarterback outside of Jalen, and they can't really do it to any success or anywhere near success of what Philadelphia's been able to do. But I wonder, does Philadelphia have like what Purdue did for the longest time, just a 7-foot center waiting in the wings? Like they don't.
And I just don't understand why people hate it so much. Like, it's not a football play. It's a rugby play. Who cares? Stop them.
Yeah.
Like, football is 11 on 11. Like, if you have a play where you can get 1 yard every time, I don't understand what the problem with it is.
I am of the constant opinion that the NFL will try to do what they can to have conversation. And if they stumble onto something that's as polarizing as the tush push has been, they'll keep throwing it out there. And this is more of that, where they're like, oh, people hate this thing, or people love that people hate this thing, so people care. So this is where we want our discussion to go to. What you've got today Andrew Berry, general manager of the Browns, at 12:30. He'll be speaking. And then Zach Taylor for the Bengals talking at 3:15. Todd Monken is going to go tomorrow. I'm curious to hear from both head coaches. I don't think we've heard from Zach since the end of Cincinnati's season. He was the last man standing in the AFC North. It was kind of a wild thing considering I had thought that if the Bengals didn't make the playoffs, that he would be the one to go because there no more heads can roll. But for the head coach there in Cincinnati, and then for Todd Monken, just where they want to go with their quarterback situation, I figured Kirk Cousins would be on the market. I didn't know that he would be kind of the first one out of the gate. But that's a direction I'm sure every head coach with a quarterback question will be thrown a Kirk Cousins question sometime this week in Indy.
And I think it's very interesting, and I understand the salary cap implications of everything.
Sure.
With Kirk Cousins, but all we always heard was, man, Kirk Cousins would be perfect for a Kevin Stefanski offense in Cleveland. They worked together in Minnesota, and everybody always said there was never a quarterback here in Cleveland while Stefanski was here and Baker ended up leaving. It never worked out like they wanted to. And Kirk Cousins' name was always mentioned. Oh, he'd be perfect in Kevin Stefanski's offense. And I know Bo just said that the door on a return is not shut for Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, but Kevin Stefanski becomes the head coach in Atlanta, and Kirk Cousins is on the market.
I'll try to figure out, and that's a thing we'll get in the break, when Stefanski takes the podium for the first time in Indianapolis. But we'll do a little bit of the real truth coming up here at the 10 o'clock hours. Time running out for the basketball Buckeyes. That's next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Common Man here for my friends at Germain. Germain is having a huge President's Day sales event all month long at all 12 of their Columbus locations. This month and this month only, all qualified pre-owned vehicles come with a 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty on top of the $1,000 price promise. No one's going to sell you a car for less. With nearly 4,000 vehicles and 30 brands, there's only one website you need when shopping for your next car. It's GoGermain.com. That's GoGermain.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
I'll tell you what, life is simple. When you feel good, it makes everything better. Hey, it's Anthony, and you may laugh that I go on and on about my personally fit arch supports from the Good Feet store, but ever since I got them, it's changed my outlook completely. When I know every day my knees, back, hips are going to feel supported and aligned, it carries me to the finish line of my day. You know, I sit enough doing the radio show. I want to be able to go out, walk, basically be on my feet without the pain I was feeling before. This has been such a great journey, knowing that my arch supports from the Good Feet store are not going to just wear out like everything I used to buy over the counter. And maybe the best part, I don't have to choose between what shoes I want to wear. My arch supports go with me. I pop them in any pair that I want to wear. And if you're like me and your lower back hurts, I fully recommend going in, taking the free test walk. You'll feel the difference. The Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and Stringtown Road in Grove City and at goodfeet.com.
Things people don't believe in. Little green aliens. Bigfoot. And that Spectrum TV combines all your favorite streaming apps with live TV at no extra cost. But that one is actually true. You get over $100 worth of streaming apps like HBO Max, Hulu, Paramount Plus, Peacock, AMC Plus, and more, included with live TV at no extra cost. It's only the way TV should be. It's only everything. Learn more at SpectrumTV.com.
Why does it matter to members that Aetna was named a Best Medicare Advantage company by U.S. News & World Report? Because they chose a plan that gives them real support, real people, and real care. We show up with care management that ensures doctors work together on complicated conditions. We show up with the latest in online tools to make healthcare easier to use anytime. We don't show up for awards. We show up for you. And showing up for you is how healthier happens together.
Your mornings are jam-packed.
So if you're going to add anything, make it your favorite bite from Tim Hortons. Buy any size beverage and add a daily baked donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. It's the best way to add more to your morning. The 1-2-3 menu, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra. Exclusions and terms apply at timhortons.com/offer-terms.
Ah, college. A time to broaden the mind, question, learn. A time to challenge the status quo. And eat a ridiculous amount of pizza, which you can buy with your Huntington Bank debit card with the Ohio State University logo. Huntington Bank is proud to be the official consumer bank of The Ohio State University and the unofficial bank of pizza. Let's go Bucks! Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome.
Steve here from USA Insulation. Let me ask you a question. Do you know why your thermos keeps your coffee hot? Because it's insulated with foam. So let us do the same thing and insulate your home with our premium foam for only $99 a month, interest-free. The cold weather's here. There's nothing better than sitting in a warm, comfortable home with your loved ones and keeping that cold, drafty air outside. So make the call today, 529-2440, 529-2440 or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation. Thanks to your support, the nonprofits VetTix and First Tix have given away tens of millions of tickets and counting to vets currently serving military, the immediate family of troops killed in action, and our brave current and former first responders. These tickets are a meaningful way to say thank you to America's heroes. And now we want you to be part of the mission. Got extra tickets to concerts, games, or special events? Or want to see if you qualify? We want you to go to vettix.org and firsttix.org today. Give something to those who gave.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. 11 Buckeyes, including Carnell Tate and Caleb Downs, are in Indianapolis for the NFL's scouting combine that continues through Sunday. Some NFL news this morning that the Falcons will release veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins once the new league year begins on March 11th. Cousins played with new Falcons head coach Kevin Stefanski while they were both with the Minnesota Vikings. In college football news, Ohio State has signed defensive coordinator Matt Patricia to a new deal, reportedly making him one of the highest paid coordinators in the country. In his first season with the Buckeyes, the 51-year-old Patricia was a finalist for the Broyles Award and coordinated the number 1 defense in the country. In college hoops last night, number 14 Kansas beat 5th-ranked Houston 69-56. Darren Peterson had 14 points in 30 minutes for the Jayhawks, while number 18 North Carolina beat number 24 Louisville 74-77, or 77-74. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union, voted best local credit union for the last 8 years by CBUS Top Picks. Visit bmifcu.org to learn more.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Isaiah Jacob with you until noon today. We've got NFL Scouting Combine coverage all week long. Bo is in Indianapolis. He joined us in the last hour. He'll pop on tomorrow at 9:30. Joshua Perry will be in with us on a first Friday edition of the program. Really, Baker, what we should do is put Bo back on the Comrex with Uncle Dom, because Dom will join us at 10:30 from somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, and then see who has the bigger gripe with where they currently are, Dom in the middle of the ocean or Bo in the city of Indianapolis. Because that was an all-timer that Bo was about to go on. He understood he understood the assignment with the clock and how we kind of can't blow past the 45 mark.
I can't wait for Thursday. Bo will be in studio with us on Thursday.
What do you mean? He's always in studio. Wait a minute.
We don't get that all the time, but I can't wait to hear the stories about Indiana, because we know he loves Indiana so much anyway. So I can't wait to hear them. Maybe we'll get a little bit more tomorrow, but I can't wait for the unshackled version on Thursday.
It is hilarious to me because, again, if you missed anything from what we've done in the last hour or any of the programs that we've previously done on Bishop and Friends, wherever it is you do your podcasting, you can find it there, and WBNS Radio on YouTube. That a city like Indianapolis, that has so many gigantic events within our sporting calendar, can't figure things out from a don't start construction within like 6 weeks of something gigantic. Because you've got the Final Four in Indianapolis this year, and according to Bo, they're doing massive construction in downtown Indianapolis and how it affects their ability to walk around. Because one of the things you hear about Indianapolis is how the downtown is super walkable. So why, during the NFL scouting combine, would you endeavor on a new project? Again, with the combine going on a couple of months before the Final Four, unless your hope is to get it done before then, which, again, hope's a terrible plan when it comes to construction. But that is something that Indianapolis and the city of Columbus have in common.
I would guess when you're the city of Indianapolis, you have things going on in your downtown all the time. So there's never a good time to start a project. And I don't know whatever's going on right now there and how long said project needs to take. Like maybe this is something they started immediately after the scouting combine last year. And maybe they were hoping to get it done, but the winter weather this year has prevented them or something. I don't know what the reasoning is behind it. I'm just saying, I'm guessing in Indianapolis, there's never a good time for this.
It's cold here. It's cold in Indianapolis. It'll be warm wherever Dom is. We'll find Uncle Dommy still on the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
So how can he complain?
At 10:30. You're absolutely right.
He's on this big ship. He's away from the Sharks. He's all good.
Far away from the Sharks. Unless he, look, they port at several different islands. So maybe somebody, if anybody, Julian Sane would be able to convince Dom to just wade out into the waters where it should be warm, again, wherever he is. But again, that's at 10:30. 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Time for The Real Truth.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years.
You heard the guy in the update talk about Matt Patricia agreeing to a new deal, likely making him the highest, or if not the most, one of the most highly paid coordinators in the country. So he'll stick around here in Columbus for at least another season. Ohio State then, returning Matt Patricia, but needing to replace several starters, will have the top defense in the country in 2026. Is that the real truth?
So I think even though they lost a lot, there are still some really good pieces on this defense. I think the cornerbacks are going to be really good in Jermaine Matthews and Devin Sanchez. I know you're replacing Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, but I think the linebackers are going to be pretty darn good. Christian Alliegro is coming in. Peyton Pierce, we saw a lot of him last year. Riley Pettijohn. Don't sleep on Sincere Johnson, a kid from Cleveland Glenville who's coming in as a true freshman. And I know that's a lot to ask of a true freshman, but Peyton Pierce was part of the rotation a little bit as a true freshman. So there's still going to be talent there. I think they brought in some great pieces on the defensive line. Kenyatta Jackson is going to still be there to lead that. You're going to have Edric Houston, John Walker, James Smith, Quay Rousseau. So the biggest question to me is going to be that safety spot and how Terry Moore does. And nobody's Caleb Downs, but can you get at least close to that production? Maybe not all the versatility, but is he going to be able to hold down that safety spot? I'm going to say no. Ohio State doesn't have the top defense in the country this year, but I am going to say that Ohio State has a top 10 defense in the country this year.
I'm also going to lean no on will they have the best defense, because it's hard to have the best defense. When you look at last season and what we were able to accomplish, I mean, it was incredible, the job that Matt Patricia did. But I will say his opportunity this season, I think he has the opportunity to do something even more impressive, which is have one of the top defenses after losing so much, losing Arvell Reese, losing Sonny Styles. The defense was fantastic last year. Patricia did a great job. But if he's able to recreate any of the successes that he had this upcoming season, then that shows an even more, to me, even more impressive job. Because when you have Sonny, when you have Arvell, Caleb Downs, you're set up for success. But how are you going to come into a season where you're losing a lot and not exactly set up for success? Can you make the scheme work? Can you make the defense just as good? If he does that this upcoming season, that's when it really makes us money.
Think of what you just said, Isaiah. And that's exactly what we were saying last year. Because you lost 8 starters from a defense that was the number one defense in the country, and the defense this past year was better than that defense. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Patricia takes these ingredients and cooks up a masterpiece again. The number one defense in the country, though, 3 years in a row, that's really, really going to be hard to do. So I think it's really good. I think it's top 10. I just don't think it's quite there. But crazy that we were saying the same things last year.
4 games remain for the Ohio State men's basketball team. Bruce Thornton, who was named Big Ten Men's Basketball Player of the Week on Monday after his performance against Michigan State, is second all-time on Ohio State's scoring list. He is 60 points away from the top spot, which Dennis Hopson's owned for a long time. Bruce Thornton is a top 10 player all-time for the basketball Buckeyes. Is that the real truth?
This is so hard for me because we've had a lot of talk about this recently, and Bruce has been on a tear like we've never seen before right now. I think there are 4 non-negotiables on this list to me. I think it's Jerry Lucas and John Havlicek, even though we didn't see those guys play. And then I think it's Jimmy Jackson, and I think it's Evan Turner. I think those are 4 guys that are non-negotiable on the top 10 Ohio State all-time list. And then you think of guys like Michael Redd and Scooney Penn, Greg Oden, Mike Conley, D'Angelo Russell, Jared Sullinger, Aaron Kraft, Gary Brads, Dennis Hopson, who is currently the number 1 scorer all time, Herb Williams. There's so many big names. I would say right now, and I know most people will yell at me and argue about this, I would say right now Bruce is outside of the top 10. But if Bruce gets this team right now to the NCAA tournament, I think maybe I have to rethink that, and maybe he sneaks in that top 10. But right now, me personally, I do not have him in there.
I agree. If he's in the top 10, he might be 10, but on my list, he's sitting on the outside of it right now. And a big portion of it is it's the teams that he's been on. And I think that works for him and against him.
Agree.
The reason it works for him is because he's been on some middling teams. What's that give him the opportunity to do? Score the basketball. He's been the number 1 scorer now for 4 seasons for this Buckeye team. So, of course, he's racked up a lot of stats. But has the winning been there? It hasn't been. If he could have flipped careers with Aaron Kraft, maybe he is a top 5 player of all time for the Buckeyes. But unfortunately, is where he is. And right now, I don't think he's in there.
Ohio State's at Iowa tomorrow night at 9. That'll be a Big Ten Network game, but something you can hear right here on The Fan. Pre-game coverage at 8 o'clock. We'll have some Jake Diebler from his radio program yesterday to play later on in the show. But the Blue Jackets will resume the regular season this coming Thursday. They've got the trade deadline coming up at the beginning of March, looking to build off of what is a playoff push and some momentum from the Olympics. That gold medal that Zach Werenski won as part of Team USA. A lot of people watch the 2026 Milan Cortina Olympiad. Just how many? We'll tell you next. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
Ma, the meatloaf!
The Fan.
If your roof is leaking, you don't need a sales pitch. You need answers. I'm Bill Schmidt with Brothers Roofing and Construction, a local certified contractor helping homeowners across central and southern Ohio solve real problems. No pressure, just honest work done right.
Remember the old days when football used to have an off-season? Well, we at The Fan think that really sucked. That's why we bring you Austin and Berm, America's #1 resource for Buckeye football conversation, is voted by Fake Surveys Incorporated. Catch their daily podcast called The Beat and their breaking news podcast, Snap Judgments, as they broadcast live from Roosters on Mondays, and they come right to your house and massage your tender areas. They'll do it all. Austin and Berm on The Fan's YouTube channel and 10 TV+.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I've had the privilege of seeing miracles, broken families rebuilt, every crash, every workplace injury, every medical mistake. Fighting back can work. We've gone toe-to-toe with insurance giants, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion recovered. Size matters. Reputation matters. Results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Chronic pain can make life feel impossible, but at QC Kinetics, there's a breakthrough that's giving people real hope. Stem wave therapy.
It has fundamentally changed the way I look at cases after 30 years in practice. So when we talk about regenerative medicine, we're talking about these types of devices.
That's Dr. Tony DeCesaro, one of the nation's authorities on stem wave therapy.
Been around for about 30 years in Europe. Now it's really taken a real foothold. People are tired of just using taking pills to really cover everything up, and they don't really heal.
This device is both diagnostic and therapeutic, helping the medical team at QC Kinetics find the problem and trigger your body's natural healing response.
It's about giving hope, right? That there are options.
QC Kinetics. Harness the power of stem wave and get relief now. Your first treatment is only $49. Call for your consultation here in Columbus. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics. 380-208-4544.
What would it take for my child to only miss half a day of school for treatment?
What would it take to find a cure for childhood cancer?
It would take all of us to come together to support the research. Join us. Go to childrenscancer.org today.
Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Birmingham Berm from the Austin and Berm Show on 97.1 The Fan. I hit maintenance mode after dropping 35 pounds with Awaken 180. The Awaken 180 coaches made it simple. Now pizza and ice cream are back, but the cravings aren't. That's a complete mindset shift. Awaken180weightloss.com.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
At St. Jude, every innovation we make is a moment we give to children with cancer everywhere. But we can't do it without you.
Learn more at stjude.org.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
This is National Public Schools Week, and Ohio's educators are proud to serve the 1.6 million public school students in our state. We know the power of public schools firsthand. We believe in the promise of providing high-quality education to everyone. To our public school educators, students, and families, thank you.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Do you have an oak tree in your yard? The Ohio Chapter International Society of Arboriculture is committed to advancing responsible tree care practices while preventing a fungal disease called oak wilt. They remind those who own and manage oak trees the best time to prune is November to early March. To find out more, there are over 1,000 qualified tree experts in Ohio. To find an ISA-certified arborist in your area, visit treesforohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A mix of sun and clouds today with highs in the upper 30s and breezy winds. And then for tonight, a short window will see a chance of rain and snow overnight. Most of it should be finished before you even wake up. Little to no accumulation is expected, otherwise mostly cloudy with lows around freezing. For Wednesday, will be mostly cloudy, becoming sunny throughout the day and breezy with highs getting into the upper 40s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it. Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, so I found one number for USA and Canada. That Jack Hughes golden goal overtime winner for Team USA back on Sunday morning. This is from the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. So the CBC says 8.7 million people north of the border watch Jack Hughes score the final goal in overtime. So that was Sunday at 10:52 a.m. Eastern on CBC's Sportsnet 1 and TSN 1.
That sounds a little light to me.
For Canada?
For Canada, I would have feel like the whole country. Well, I don't know what the population of Canada is, but that seems awful light. I would think all of Canada was watching.
I do wonder how many Canadians, and I don't know the accessibility of Peacock north of the border, but I would also think that those numbers will be gigantic in terms of who got on Peacock for that. The worldwide numbers, the North American numbers, I guess south of the Canadian border, haven't been released yet. But according to Nielsen and Adobe Analytics, NBC had its most watched winter games in 12 years. The Peacock averaged 24 million viewers across its prime afternoon coverage, 2 to 5 Eastern, and prime time in Milan, 8 to 11 through Friday. So that's through last Friday. So Saturday and Sunday's numbers aren't out yet. It's a 94% improvement over the 2022 Games in Beijing, the second straight Olympics where viewers had returned in large numbers. 2024 Paris Summer Games were up 82% from their predecessor, 2021 in Tokyo. NBC Sports also says the U.S. women's hockey overtime victory on February 19th was the most watched women's hockey game on record, averaging 5.3 million viewers on USA Network and Peacock, and it peaked with 7.7 million in overtime. So what was it, a Friday middle afternoon for that game? Incredible numbers there.
I wonder why the drastic numbers, and I wonder if it's just the time change difference. Like you could watch a lot of these Milan. Now they were early in the morning or in the afternoon, but you could watch a lot of these Olympics live. And maybe in Tokyo, a lot of the stuff was happening overnight or super early morning that you couldn't. I wonder like just why the 94 and the 82% between the last winter and summer Olympics here. I would guess that has to be it.
That's probably something to do with it. I also wonder just with what Peacock's been able to do in compared to previous years is have so much available to you at different times. And who knows with these companies, we talk about Netflix's streaming numbers. We talk about Amazon's streaming numbers where they have their truth, where we have the actual truth. My guess is the number that they give is somewhere in between or probably skewing more towards what their truth is. But just the accessibility of these games was at an all-time high. I mean, even last Summer Olympics, I remember before, like that being the most that I could ever see any type of Olympic sport whenever I wanted to, however I wanted to, whether it be TV, phone, or tablet. And I think that's doubled more. I don't know if doubled's the right number on it, but it feels like it's gotten up more the more that we, especially in this market, have gotten onto Peacock more, right? To find Ohio State basketball, to find Ohio State football. More and more people in the Columbus area, in the greater central Ohio area, probably have Peacock compared to last Olympic Games.
And if you look at Stanley Cup Finals numbers, that's usually around like 2.8 million. So that's outperforming NHL playoff games, the Stanley Cup Final. Like that's unbelievable numbers.
Yeah, I would just, like I said, the Canada, I would guess all of Canada was watching that game probably on Sunday morning. So the 8.7, you would just think, and I understand 8.7 in America is huge, and I'm guessing that gold medal game did even more than that in the States. But man, I couldn't imagine, and I know like we think a lot of times everybody in Columbus, Ohio is watching Ohio State games. There's actually a lot of people that don't watch Ohio State games or even pay attention to Ohio State
games?
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
But I just can't imagine there's a lot of people in Canada not tuning into that.
You woke up today and said, Bo's out. I'm going to commit heresy live on the air, is what you just did, sir.
Listen, I'm just saying there's a lot of people that still go shop for cars on Saturday in the fall or go do their grocery shopping on Saturdays in the fall.
I want to go, why?
You don't want to meet these people.
Why would you?
They don't live in our sphere, but
I guess if they're shopping for cars, maybe they got the fan on the app or they got the fan on the radio and they've got Paul Keels and Jim Lachey.
They're pumping up our viewers. That's what it is.
A bad thing to do.
You can't go wrong listening to Paul and Jim.
You really can't. What I think is going to happen with these Olympic Games is the momentum from them, especially when it relates to men's hockey and Zach Werenski having the golden assist on Jack Hughes' golden goal in overtime, propel our interest. I guess our being those strange humans you talk about not watching Ohio State on Saturday, the casual viewer, the casual listener into what the Blue Jackets have coming out as the second half resumes for them Thursday night in Boston, taking on the Bruins, who they're looking up at for that wild card spot. You've got the Islanders in town on Saturday. Jackets are looking up at the Islanders for the final Metropolitan Division playoff spot. And what I think is going to be an incredible atmosphere Saturday at Nationwide. I think that's a 6 o'clock puck drop against the Islanders when you welcome back Zach Werenski. Gold medalist Zach Werenski after his representation of Team USA. But for the CBJ, you've got so much momentum you had going into the Olympic break and now coming out of it. An incredible time, I think, with the trade deadline on March 6th. And Baker, you would put this in the real truth about the Jackets, and they've got, I think, 6 pending UFAs this season, but they've also got a couple extensions to work on. If you were general manager Don Waddell, what would be the first thing you work on? Would it be extensions for maybe an Adam Fantilli? Would it be a re-signing one of the pending UFAs or acquiring a player or players on March 6th before that trade deadline?
I mean, they've already been working on the UFAs. And the four that you throw into that group are Boone Jenner, Charlie Coyle, Mason Marchman, and Eric Goodbranson. They were talking some over the break. Don Waddell has said he doesn't think that those extensions are getting done by March 6th, but they also don't have to for them to keep those players. They know like where their mindset is, where they're thinking money-wise and whatnot. Adam Fantilli, I believe, is in the offseason, work on that extension, get that done. So that would be the least of my worries there. I think Don Waddell has a pretty good idea of where they're at in these negotiations, who wants to stay, who's priced for them to stay. So I would think it's what you're going to do at the trade deadline is what you're working on here. And now part of that is going to be how you start. You've got 5 games before the trade deadline, and you jump right into the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're playing the Boston Bruins, who are 4 points ahead of you in the wild card, and then you're playing the New York Islanders Saturday at home, and they're 4 points ahead of you in the Metropolitan. So those are directly the 2 teams ahead of you for a playoff spot. If you come out here, and I don't think they will, but if you come out here and lose 3 games, maybe you're talking about making trades and you're not keeping those guys. But I just don't get that's the feeling. I get that they're going to add pieces. I think the first thing I would do, and most people might think this is crazy because Boone Jenner's your captain. He's been here forever. I think the first extension you work on is Charlie Coyle. And then I would say number 2 is Mason Marchman. If you think Mason Marchman wants to stay and is a part of your future here. And then you can work on Boone and Goodbranson. But I would say Charlie Coyle, with the season he's having, and I know it is a career year for him as of right now, and obviously you don't pay players on career years. You play, especially a veteran like him, on the body of work. But I would think Charlie Coyle, what he means to that room, his versatility, he could move up and down the lineup, play wing, even though we've only seen him play center this year. I think Charlie Coyle's business number 1.
I think with what Waddell's been able to do this season alone, I mean, the acquisition of Marchman's paid off, but just the timing in which he made the coaching change, right? And something that I would not have expected a Blue Jackets organization at really any other time, but when Todd Richards lost like his first 9 games, and it was just, you kind of had to do something. The timing in which he made the switch, bringing on Rick Bowness, calling him from his fishing boat, and then the Jackets with the bonus bump going into that Olympic break, like sets them up for potentially big game fishing. Is there a big fish out there, Baker, that you think the Jackets should at least be in on before March 6th?
I think it's all depending on price.
Sure.
But I think you look at a couple guys on the Vancouver Canucks, and they seem to be a team that has been willing to be in business. An Elias Pettersson or a Brock Besser, those are 2 guys. One is a high-end center. The other is a very good goal-scoring winger. I think those are 2 guys right there that maybe you would look at. Is there a defensive defenseman out there? Maybe in the likes of a guy you had here before, in an Ian Cole, or someone like that, a veteran, heavy to play against. Think David Savard when you had him.
Sure.
A big, physical, will move people out of the front of the net, because I think you can still always get a little more physical on that back end, especially in the playoffs. So it's hard because so many teams are still in the playoff push, especially in the East right now. How many people are going to be sellers will be interesting to see. Is there a hockey trade maybe you could work out where you get someone that can add to an element of your team that you're weak at right now, but maybe you've got a player that's going to help some area that they're weak at. So it's all going to be interesting to see here in the next couple of weeks.
And I know Jody had talked about similarly a defenseman being on the Jackets wish list for that March 6th deadline. Jody will join us Thursday at 11:30. It feels like it's been a minute since we've had some Shelley time. We'll do that as the Jackets prepare to battle the Boston Bruins coming out of that Olympic break. Where in the world is Dom Taberry? We'll find out in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Oh, okay. We've got a little song today, eh?
Yeah, spent quite a while working on that one. Thought I'd sell more windows if I had a catchy window jingle.
I like it. You know, jingles aren't really our thing at Pella. We just stick to the highest levels of quality and design thing.
Oh. Wish we would have thought of that. Doot.
Get the windows that Columbus homeowners rated the leading window brand at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. You know, there is no end to the amount of stuff in my garage. I've got bicycles. I've got rollerblades. I've got every basketball, football, baseball, hockey puck, lacrosse, you name it, we've got it in there. If your garage looks like mine, that might be one of the reasons you've put off getting your garage floor fixed. Maybe you've got stains and cracks, bad epoxy job. Whatever the case, if your garage looks bad, that feels bad when you pull in there. But I don't want to have to clean out my garage to get my garage floor fixed, right? Well, good news. Comer and Cross concrete floor coatings, they will come and fix your garage floor in just one day. They will take all the stuff out of your garage so you don't have to. Plus, Comer and Cross, they're all certified, uniformed pros, no subcontractors at Comer and Cross. Get your quick and easy Comer and Cross garage floor estimate now. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR is the number. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERCross.com. Get a new garage floor in just one day with Comer and Cross.
Ah, college. A time to broaden the mind, question, learn. A time to challenge the status quo. And eat a ridiculous amount of pizza, which you can buy with your Huntington Bank debit card with the Ohio State University logo. Huntington Bank is proud to be the official consumer bank of The Ohio State University and the unofficial bank of pizza. Let's go Bucks! Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Taberry.
You heard it from Big Voice Guy. We go out now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Dom, where are you?
I am on the airplane, and I am in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We just got off the ship this morning from the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer, and we're going to take off here in a little bit and head to Orlando, Florida, and then from Orlando to Columbus. I'll get in around 6 o'clock tonight.
Don, we saw the content you cranked out on the Buckeye Cruise. Were you able to relax and get some sun?
Yeah, I called it a workcation. I sent back 36 videos and all, but it was pretty cool. Got to spend some time with Coach Day. And, of course, the big news that came out, they got a deal done with Matt Patricia, which, you know, we kind of had a feeling that was trending that way. And, you know, he didn't want to get into the type of contract or anything. That'll all become public record soon enough. But that was, to me, huge to get him and then combine him with Arthur Smith. You got two former head coaches in the National Football League, two guys that are veterans in the National Football League now that are leading the Ohio State offense and defense. To me, that was huge and just really cool. As far as the cruise goes, they wrapped up last night raising over $4.6 million. And for the 19 years they've done the cruise, they've raised just over $48 million, which is amazing. Lisa Cisco, who is the founder and created this thing, said her goal was to make $1 million, and here we go. She's next year she'll go over 50 million, which is absolutely incredible when you think about it. She and Chris Quinn do an incredible job.
That's amazing, and no other fan base in the country could do what the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer does. Dom, what is you've been on a lot of these, what is your favorite part of the cruise?
Well, you know, you wake up every day and it's February and you look out your balcony window in the Caribbean Sea and it's 80-some degrees and it's just gorgeous, and you're with all like-minded Buckeye fans. You hear a lot of OHIO. It's just a floating tailgate, and you know the players. You got the former players like Bobby Carpenter and who you hear regularly Monday through Friday on the Fan and 10 TV Plus. You got Dane Sanzenbacher, who you hear on the Fan. You got Justin Zwick, who you hear on the Fan. All those guys are on it. then you have the current players, and it was pretty cool. You got Julian Sayin, the rookie quarterback who no longer is a rookie, and he's got his entire offensive line basically here with him. And it was good to get to know those guys a little bit. I'll tell you, I really am big fans of Luke Montgomery and that group. Austin Saravold said he was going to wrestle a shark. I don't know if it happened, but he's big enough that he could. And Hensman, just great guys, just absolutely great guys. I really enjoyed our time with them.
Dom,
and I interviewed all of them, sent them all back. They're all interviews if you want to hear. And we did a gun show.
Like a bicep show or an actual firearm show?
I mean,
like you flexed for them?
Hensman and Montgomery, they have some big arms, and then I joined a gun show too, so you can watch them. There's some actual guns being, but those guys, oh my goodness,
all that
Carson
stuff,
and it's all, you can watch it all. It's all posted on 10 TV Plus and 90 on our YouTube page.
Dom, I know Dane did some stand-up maybe 2 cruises ago. Did he do anything this year?
Stand-up, you mean like comedy?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did not see that. He was part of the, they did Trivial Pursuit and that type stuff. But no, I did not see him do any kind of stand-up comedy.
When you talked to Julian, what
did I see him sing? But I'll tell you one of the highlights. I interviewed Bennett Christian. The tight end, that kid can play guitar. And so our guy, Evan Blankenship, who works for 97.1 The Fan and is also the lead singer of North of Nashville, he rocked it on the cruise, and he got Bennett up there, and Bennett played guitar and was absolutely fantastic. Matter of fact, I interviewed him too. You can watch that interview. And I posted a video of him playing guitar. It's pretty cool.
It is cool to see just some of the hidden talents that some of these Buckeyes have. When you talk to Julian Sayin on the cruise, if you can remember back to the first time you got a chance, whether it was to hear from Julian or whether it was for you get to speak to Julian when he came to Ohio State from Alabama, just what have you noticed from the change in his demeanor as he's gone from freshman to now quarterback 1 at The Ohio State University?
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, the guy was a Heisman finalist. Here's the thing. The guy has had a year under Mickey Marotti's, tutelage. He's bigger. He got his hair cut. He's got a new hairstyle. It's a short haircut, but he's a lot more confident. Let's put it that way. I mean, I think he was a little timid when he came into here last year. I mean, it was a whole new situation for a young kid. And, the guy had never made a start. And, I think his eyes were open and, to the world of Buckeye football. But no, I was very impressed with the way he handled himself on the Buckeye cruise. And all the guys were absolutely amazing, interacting with the fans and taking part in all the stuff to help raise the money. I mean, what these guys, they gave a lot of their time, but it was really neat. And he's, I'm expecting big things. The one thing I would say is, we saw some of the difficulties he faced in the last 2 games of the year against Indiana and against Miami with the pressure they brought and everything. I think that he learned so much in those 2 games that will pay benefits next year. And let's face it, guys, if you look at the National Football League, if you look at college football, if you look at high school football, all 3 of those levels, the quarterback is now expected to run. It used to be in the NFL, they were just drop back passers and hand the ball off, but, not much of a run threat. And, that's changed. The game has changed. And I think with Arthur Smith coming in and his forte with the running game and everything, I think that will only be the next evolution for Julian, because he is athletic enough to run. And you're going to have to pick it to keep him honest. But you add that element. You saw what it did for Ohio State when C.J. Stroud did it in that Georgia game. And now C.J., you see, if you watch a Houston game, you'll see C.J. run 3-4 times in those games.
Dom, you talked to Ryan a couple times on this cruise, obviously yesterday after the Matt Patricia news, and then when you guys first got on there. What kind of sense of relief did you feel from Ryan that they got the Patricia thing wrapped up? And then how excited is he about Arthur Smith?
He's very excited about Arthur Smith. And, just as he said to me, you got two guys now that are coordinators that were head coaches in the National Football League. And just the knowledge that they have when it comes to the NFL, that's exciting. It should be exciting for the kids because their goal is to get in the NFL. And, as I said when I did a little chat with Ryan and Mark Pantoni on the ship talking about the world of college football today, one of the things I brought up is that if you look at the start of last NFL season, Ohio State had nearly 80 players either in active rosters, almost 50, I think it was 50 or just over 50 active roster NFL players. And then you had also the practice squad. But nearly 80 guys in the NFL. That's absolutely amazing and a credit to what they do. So if you want to play in the NFL, you come to Ohio State. If you want to know what it's like to play for an NFL coach, you come to Ohio State now because you have Matt Patricia and you have Arthur Smith. So, yeah. Matter of fact, Dane Sanzenbacher is standing in front of me, boys. I'm on the show. I'm on Tuesdays. Dane says, hello, boys. We're on the airplane. And so that's the way it rolls when you do the show live, Kavish.
All right, Dom, we'll get you out of here on this then. You've been on a lot of these cruises. You just mentioned Dane right in front of you. Maybe he's one of them. Who is one of these former Buckeyes that is a sneaky pick for someone we would want to sit and have a drink and talk with on the cruise?
Oh, man, there's a ton. I mean, Dane is one of them. I did that a few times. Dane and I sat and talked a lot. I'll tell you what, Paris Campbell's another amazing guy. All these guys are great. Jake Ballard's here. He's great. We hear him on the, it's just, it's a who's who. And I'll tell you the one little thing. I'll give you a little thing. I should have told you this. So we went to St. Bart's, and it is called the yacht capital of the world. And we pulled in on the cruise ship, and there were more yachts than I have ever seen. It was incredible. And it's a French island, and very expensive, I might add. It's high end. Period. I mean. I did a vertical video in front of the Prada store. Thank goodness Terry Tiberi didn't want to buy anything in there because the cheapest purse I saw was $2,300. Anyways, we're there, and we took a cab and went around and looked at the stuff. T-shirts on St. Bart, and it's euros. $70 euro was the cheapest T-shirt we could find. I did. Thank God Terry Tiberi didn't like any of them, so we didn't get one. But the Paul Harvey is, as we got back to the boat, I was talking to some of the folks, and you're not going to believe who was at the beach we were at. And I said, who? They said Mike Vrabel and Robert Kraft, and that apparently Kraft has his yacht down there, and they're staying down there and kind of enjoying St. Bart's. But, I mean, you couldn't believe. And then we saw this one yacht down there, had a helicopter on the back of it. It was a big boat, but it was apparently the chase boat for Jeff Bezos' yacht. Got a helicopter on it and all this stuff. It's I don't know what I would do with that kind of money, guys. I mean, in England, they have HMS, His Majesty's ship or Majesty's ship. And my people, where I'm from in Italy, that's on my boat,
Dom, incredible job out of you this week on the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. Safe travels back. Look forward to getting your more. We'll get more cruise stories out of you coming up next week. All right, bud?
All right, boys. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back at the station tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Safe travels.
Joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We've got some NFL executives that have already taken the podium in Indianapolis for the scouting combine. Some good news for the Raiders. That's next to Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is the Daily Show with Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Bruce Thornton's milestones, what he continues to do. Is it something, Jake, that I know I ask you about it all the time, but something that even as it continues, it still amazes you?
Well, I think it's the impressive thing is the consistency at which he's operated with over his career. But I get to see how he prepares and works every single day. So I hate to say this. I'm not trying to take it for granted by any means, but I'm not surprised. He's a talented player that has an elite work ethic, discipline, great approach. And he's just consumed with helping us win right now, and that's obviously scoring is an important part of that. But what he's been able to do has been really impressive, certainly. But I also have high expectations for him.
I understand. We'll have more. We continue in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the court. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. Basketball is full of challenging shots, and life can be too. With Encova, you don't have to do it alone. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
At Ohio State, we're creating what others only dream of. Our innovators are creating the new field of imageomics to track biodiversity. We're developing cardio-oncology therapies to reduce heart damage, AI-controlled trust verification to protect technologies from hackers, and engineering more fuel-efficient cars. We're finding solutions the world needs now.
Jake, can I ask you about Bruce Thornton? Is it also something that symbolizes what it's like to have retention with players that stay multiple years?
Well, I think you're seeing development right before our eyes, right? To see where he was when he got here to where he is now, and he deserves most of the credit for that because of how hard he works. But, you know, he's embraced our development plan, and it's paid off in a big way for him.
Safe to say that he's an example not only this year but in the future to others?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, guys who are on our team, young players, are getting to see, you know, what great work ethic and discipline and embracing all the resources Ohio State has can do for you. So that's a great lesson for young players to learn from. And, you know, I think other players who, you know, as we recruit young men into our program, they've referenced what he's been able to do from a development standpoint.
It is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Around here, it's all-wheel drive all year round. And Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone, like the best-selling Camry. Now through March 2nd, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 26 Camry. Or lease a new Camry LE for just $279 a month for 39 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Working your way through that home projects list, more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks for all your plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling needs. Call the Waterworks, trusted and certified plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
For the past 100 years, Shriners Children's has become family to over 1.5 million kids.
In tough times and good times, they're there when we need them most.
Please go online right now to loveshriners.org.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Isaiah Jacob with you until noon on this Tuesday. Got the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. That's where you'll find Bo. He joined us at 9:30. If you missed his diatribe, or I guess his tirade on the city of Indianapolis, that's available at WBNS Radio on YouTube, wherever it is you do your podcasting. Joshua Perry is going to join us on tomorrow's 3-hour program, but Bo will be back on at 9:30 from the NFL Scouting Combine, and then we'll get Bo back full-time as he returns from Indianapolis on Thursday at 971 The Fan on Instagram right now. We've posted Matt Patricia thanking Buckeye Nation for all their support, as he in fact confirms that he has signed a new contract with the Buckeyes to be their defensive coordinator. It's fitting because he's got the pencil in his ear. So he completely understands the assignment. Also at 971 The Fan on Instagram, where you'll be able to see our video announcing the Fan 5K returns to Otterbein on Saturday, June 20th. So we'll have more on that actually in the next segment. I'll give you a little bit more details on where you want to sign up for that if it is, in fact, something you'd like to do.
Thing or not a thing?
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
So speaking earlier this morning to the assembled media in Indianapolis, Las Vegas Raiders general manager John Spytek told reporters at the Combine he expects Max Crosby to be with the Raiders this season. Thing or not a thing?
I don't think it's a thing, because offers can come and offers can go, and Max Crosby can also say, hey, I don't want to play here, almost forcing their hand to trade him. I personally do not think that the Las Vegas Raiders are a team of consequence next year in the NFL with or without Max Crosby. And I feel like if you might trade Max Crosby, that could jumpstart maybe your path to relevance. I think they have a really good running back in Ashton Genty. They're going to draft a quarterback, we think, in Fernando Mendoza, who they believe is going to be their franchise quarterback. They have two really good tight ends in Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. So maybe you trade Max Crosby and it can help get you pieces. I can also understand why you want to keep him, because he's one of the best in the league at what he does at a position that we put a lot of premium on. I've heard Tyvus say recently that he would not worry about the defensive end position unless that's the piece you're missing to get to the Super Bowl. He said he would take defensive tackles right now, interior defensive linemen over defensive ends, unless you're a team that's heading for the Super Bowl. I understand that. And if I was the Raiders, I would trade him. I wouldn't keep him, because I think you would get so many pieces, and maybe you have a front office in place now that it seems like Tom Brady is kind of taking over more and more of, that you could trust to get you the right pieces with what you get from that trade. But I don't think this is a thing, because I don't think either way the Raiders are a team of consequence next year.
I agree, not a thing. My reasoning, you can't take what the GMs or the front office people say at their actual word. I think there's so much time where this can change. If the right offer comes across their table, if Max pushes out, I think there's still a lot of opportunity where this can go wrong for the Raiders or Max Crosby. So at this point, I'm going to say not a thing.
Yeah, all of this from the NFL is silly season. Continuing with that theme of silliness, the NCAA is headquartered in Indianapolis. Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger had a memo sent today to NCAA member schools by their Vice President of Enforcement, John Duncan. It announces the D1 Board of Directors has charged their staff to, quote, pursue significant penalties for tampering violations, while also more publicly announcing cases, and reminded schools about their tampering bylaw, which says, quote, communications of any kind are not permitted with a student athlete at another school or any representatives of their interests, including agents, before that student enters the NCAA transfer portal. It includes a coach or booster expressing interest in or suggesting the possibility of a roster spot opening for a student athlete should the individual enter the transfer portal, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
I am all for this. However, schools, you need to step up to the plate now. And you need to enforce these said rules however you can. And I don't know how you can, but the schools need to band together and say, we're not doing this. And you are going to be punished. And I think, what is it? The only punishment you can do here is keep them out of tournaments, which the NCAA doesn't run the college football playoff. But even then, you're going to have the schools and the powers that be stick together. And I just don't think they can or they will.
I think this is a thing. It needs to be a thing because what we have right now is not sustainable. And for these teams that are not abiding by these rules, there needs to be some form of punishment. And we can only hope that at some point there will be. And when there is, the hammer is going to come down because the only way to truly enforce these rules is to make an example out of someone. You better hope that your team isn't the one that gets made an example of. You can get through right now. Everything's being pushed through and available and is okay. Once they bring the hammer down, someone's going to get crushed, and I hope they do.
Yeah, I think it goes just to our conversation we've had for a while about the coaches really need to be the catalyst for any kind of change with rosters, with players on those rosters, with transfer portal, with name, image, and likeness, and the allocation of funds to certain players. And, you know, it flies in the face of logic that Charles Bediako, the center formerly of Alabama and also formerly of the NBA G League, and then before the G League, formerly of Alabama, is going to ask the Alabama Supreme Court to let him back onto the Crimson Tide's roster. I don't know if you saw that news out there, but really the coaches need to band together and say, we're not getting into business with those kinds of players, with those kinds of agents, and with those kinds of athlete representation. The Army-Navy game is one of, if not the most coveted college football rivalries. Could it possibly be played on a different weekend, maybe on the same weekend as the game? We'll discuss that next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Are you struggling with bad feet? Hi, it's Mike from the Good Feet Store. I'd like you to hear what Kelsey, a kinesiologist, has to say about how your feet can affect your entire body.
When the foot's placed in the ideal position, everything else up the kinetic chain works better. You have better balance, more energy, you're gonna feel better. Being able to move freely means everything to me, and good movement starts with the feet. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that they support all 4 arches in the foot.
So did you even know you had 4 arches in each foot? Most people don't, and most shoes and inserts only support one of your foot's arches. Learn how Good Feet arch supports can support all 4 of your arches. We want to help you walk, run, exercise, and play in comfort this year. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet Store. Visit the Good Feet Store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road at Grove City.
Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Did winter leave you with a roof leak just as spring approaches? Don't stress. The team at Newman Roofing has you covered. Voted Columbus's best roofing company 4 years in a row. Schedule your estimate by calling 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Common Man here for my friends at Germain. Germain is having a huge President's Day sales event all month long at all 12 of their Columbus locations. This month and this month only, all qualified pre-owned vehicles come with a 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty on top of the 1,000 $5,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. With nearly 4,000 vehicles and 30 brands, there's only one website you need when shopping for your next car. It's GoGermain.com. That's GoGermain.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
Hey, everybody, it's Jeremy Birmingham Berm from the Austin and Berm Show on 97.1 The Fan. I hit maintenance mode after dropping 35 pounds with Awaken 180. The Awaken 180 coaches made it simple. Now pizza and ice cream are back, but the cravings aren't. That's a complete mindset shift. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron, what are those?
Those are what are known as toilets, Jerry.
I know they're toilets, but why are they sitting back to back like bookends?
Congratulations, Jerry. You said the magic word.
Get Eco.
Bookends? Bookends is the magic word?
Take a seat, Jerry.
I choose this one.
A good choice. That is the world's most luxurious toilet.
Really? How much is it?
$6,500, including installation.
What? For $6,500, this thing would have to iron my shirts, shine my shoes, and sing happy birthday to me.
Get Eco.
It does way more than that, Jerry.
I'm switching to the other one. How much is this one?
$650, including installation.
Wow, that's a great deal. What does it do?
It does exactly what you would expect, Jerry.
Huh. From $650 to $6,500. Eco has a toilet for everyone.
Give it away, plumbers, genius electricians, and you can always trust our HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
It's Skyway time at Skyline Chili. Come get your Skyline 3, 4, or 5-way with 50% extra cheese at no extra charge. Regular and large ways only at participating Skyline restaurants for a limited time.
Day one, the hardest day. The day you hear,
this is a type of blood cancer.
At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day one. To learn more and get help on any day, visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Only one college basketball team is without a loss, and it's the Miami Redhawks. Number 21, Miami of Ohio, looks to go 28-0 tonight at Eastern Michigan at 6:30. The Redhawks' quest for 31-0 has a final stop in Athens on March 6th. That game was flexed to ESPN2 and will tip off at 9 p.m. on the first actual Friday next month. For Ohio State, the Buckeyes are at Iowa tomorrow night at 9. You can hear that game on the Fan with coverage Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We're 19 days out from Selection Sunday on the men's side. As for the OSU women's squad, the 13th-ranked Buckeyes host number 8 Michigan tomorrow night at 8. Ohio State will wrap the regular season Sunday at number 15 Michigan State. And in the NBA tonight, the Cavaliers host the Knicks at 7:30. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union, voted best local credit union for the last 8 years by CBUS Top Picks. Visit bmifcu.org to learn more. Breaking sports news when it happens right here on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Eric Reeser, Ryan Baker, Isaiah Jacob with you on this Tuesday edition of the program. Bo Bishop's over in Indianapolis for the Scouting Combine. We'll have him back on with us tomorrow at 9:30. Then he'll rejoin the program in its entirety coming up on Thursday. A lot of Combine conversation, and most of the interesting stuff has to do with free agents or pending free agents or players that are due for contract extensions, more so than conversations about Combine players. I think the workouts are the most important thing for anybody. I do want to say this, that the Combine, I think the NFL Scouting Combine is one of the biggest wastes of time that we put any attention to. I think it was Coach Beard in the YouTube chat said the NBA All-Star weekend might be an argument for what's a bigger waste of time. But I think just so much nonsense gets done over in Indianapolis. And people love the nonsense, right? It's one of those things with the NFL that you're always going to want to pay attention to because it's the nonsense that we care so much about.
I'm guessing there's definitely a lot of nonsense. That's obvious. But I'm guessing it's not a waste of time for some of the people that weren't going to get drafted, that end up getting drafted,
No,
or
certainly.
maybe move from a 5th-round pick to a 2nd-round pick or whatnot. So, yeah, I think there probably is a lot of ridiculousness to it, but probably the the point behind it, the understanding, the meaning of it, the intention in there is good. And there's probably, like we said, a few people that have maybe had their life or career made over there. Somebody got eyes on them that maybe didn't have eyes on them before. And
yeah, I would say from the combine invitees perspective, it's great. But for everybody else, what are we doing a week and change on this? Because with so many, the focus goes to the senior day, right? Of some of the biggest names that you're going to see drafted. The first round of the NFL draft's April 23rd, I think, in Pittsburgh. So many of those names are going to put so much more importance or emphasis on the pro day, which is a much more interesting thing, in my opinion. What's been interesting, since 2009, the Army-Navy game has been held on the second Saturday of December. And the Army-Navy game, the Army-Navy game has been one of many things that's been in discussions when you talk about the college football calendar, because something's got to change with it. It's too long. It starts maybe a little too late relative to when it ends. I think January 25th for the national championship game in 2027 feels way too late to be doing a college football season when you've got week 0 coming up in mid-August. But Army's head coach Jeff Monken in a recent interview said, quote, about the game and maybe when to move it, said, quote, there's not an appetite for the college football season to go all the way to the end of January. There's a real hope that we can get this thing into one semester and have the championship game around January 1st, which I think it would be awesome. Monken also says that he's in favor of moving the Army-Navy game and potentially to that weekend of Thanksgiving, which I don't know if I'd be okay with that.
Reese, I'm a big tradition guy, and I understand making a sacrifice for the good of the game, which it sounds like Jeff Monken is doing here. We all talk about the calendar and how we can move it up. We can speed it up. We can get this thing done quicker. It doesn't need to go to January 27th where it's heading, right? I think moving it is fine, but I think I would like to have it stand alone. I would like to have it its own thing where it's focused. I will also say this year they're going to do the game in East Rutherford, New Jersey, as part of the 25th year not celebration, I guess, but remembrance of 9/11. I would say this year I'm actually in favor of moving that game to the Friday that 9/11 is. Play that game, play Army-Navy this year on 9/11 in New York. I think that's an exception that I think we could all be for, and that one is just move it up this year for that. I guess I don't mind if they move it, but I would still like it to be its own standalone entity.
I appreciate it having its own kind of Saturday to shine, but that does feel like one of the casualties of college football and its ridiculous expansion. I love what Monken says about having the championship game around January 1st. You end the college football season at or before the year turns over. You get it out of the way because, especially with this year, you're going to see, and even when it expands, the college football playoff is going to try to work its way around the NFL in the latter parts of the NFL season and into the first parts of the NFL playoffs. And it's like it shouldn't be the case. And with continual expansion, you're going to have games that the games are going to be diluted. They're not going to be nearly as good because you're letting in more teams. You're going to have worse matchups, in my opinion. But then you're also not going to have enough premier channels to show these games, so they're going to take back seats. And if your product is taking a back seat in terms of the channel it's being shown on, then how can you possibly say it's the best way to crown or determine a champion in the sport? And as I had said, we're about 19 days out from Selection Sunday. That'll be on March 15th. The Buckeyes have 4 chances, Baker, to earn their way into the NCAA tournament. It starts tomorrow night against Iowa. Feels like a must-win.
Yeah, we've been talking about this, and we've been saying must-win for a while. Yep. And there's no must-win right until it's too late.
Sure.
But if you're Ohio State, you have a win over UCLA that looks better after them beating number 8 Illinois last week. You have a win over Wisconsin, even though it's not a quad 1 win now. You've got to get some of these, and I hate the term quad 1. I understand what it is, but you've got to get some of these wins against better teams. And your last couple of chances here are your next 2 games. in Iowa, and then Purdue, because I'm not sure wins over Indiana or Penn State are going to move the needle for you. So is this a must-win in the fact that, well, you're not getting in the tournament if you don't win this game? No, I don't think so, because there's obviously a run in the Big Ten tournament you can have, which, whether you think that's happening or not with this Buckeye basketball team, that's one thing, but it could still happen. So is tonight technically a must-win? No, maybe not, but you sure better win it to help yourself feel a little better.
Coming off that 6-point loss at Michigan State, here's Jake Diebler from his radio show yesterday talking about preparing for the Hawkeyes.
They play really well together. Great passing team. I think that's a hard place to play. You guys have been there, and Sturts he's kind of the engine of the team, and he's a great player, and I think they've done a great job this year. So, we're excited about the opportunity to go into their place, and it's going to be a big time game, and we'll be ready. I think it's they have other good players too. Like, make no mistake about it. But what he's done this year has been really impressive.
Both teams sitting at 9-7 in Big Ten play. The Hawkeyes 19-8, while Ohio State 17-10. And so one of those last at-large Big Ten spots. I know in the latest bracketology, Joe Lenardi had them as one of the first 4 buys, but this feels, the closer we get, like you're playing for Dayton. And that's fine for Ohio State as long as you make the NCAA tournament, I guess, in this case.
And if you go to Dayton, it's going to be a massive crowd.
Yeah.
It's going to be a heck of an atmosphere. Something that I think a lot of Ohio State fans would want to try to get over there. I've always pushed the UD Arena. It's one of the best places to watch a basketball game, a college basketball game. I've been there for a Dayton game. It is just, the crowd is absolutely electric. If Ohio State's in the first 4, I guarantee I'm going to try to go over and see that just for the whole feeling. But gosh, Ohio State, yeah, they're a play-in bound team, it seems.
And it's going to be tougher when your injuries, when the injury bug starts to bite a little bit more, because now you're out Brandon Knoll till I don't know when. Junie Mobley, they're hoping to have him, but you have 4 games left, so if he's coming back before the end of the season, like, the clock's ticking there. And then you didn't have Devin Royal in what felt like a huge opportunity. It's only a 6-point loss at Michigan State. Here's Jake Diebler again from his radio show talking about their injuries.
We need time, and I think that's the reality. We got guys working really hard. I've been really impressed with our performance team and the time they've put in to help our guys, because we've been dealing with stuff now for a while. So taking every precaution we can when guys are sick to keep them isolated so it doesn't spread. But we've had that work through kind of our entire roster. Some guys got circled back again, but. And then, Brandon obviously progressing as fast as he can. Junie, same thing. So, Colin has been battling through injury all year. It's been a lot on our performance team, but I just want to acknowledge the work and the effort and time that they put in, because it's such a critical part. Yeah, I can't imagine not having a great group and what that would look like for us, right? So, we're blessed to have a great group and thankful for all they do for our guys.
It's already hard enough with what this basketball team has not accomplished over the past couple of years and what kind of your expectations should be for the program year in and year out. The disappointments with portal allocation, picking the wrong kind of person out of the transfer portal, having players that don't contribute in the way you would think they should be contributing relative to stars or relative to NIL allocation. But then when Jake comes out and talks about the flu and keeping guys quarantined, I keep going back to seeing Devin Royal on the bench. And I go, well, if he's dealing with the flu, isn't that what you want to have him do? Quarantine? Because there's nothing you can do about a gold medal hockey game. But we all saw it Sunday morning. A guy with a broken face goes out and scores a goal. And a couple hours later, there's a guy sitting on the bench yucking it up with his teammates, and he's sick in a game that you really needed to have. Then you have the captain of that team going out and doing a Herculean performance and nobody else helping him. Couldn't Devin have helped in at least a couple of minutes with a couple? I mean, the game's 3 points with 15 ticks left to go. Couldn't have he produced something?
I believe Jake said that those kind of game time decisions with the illnesses, those decisions are made for them by other people, and I'm guessing that's team doctors. Well, if it is the flu and he's that sick, sure, having him on the bench with the rest of the players doesn't seem like the smartest idea in the world. Sunday, Devin Royal and Sunday, I will never understand unless we get definitive answers on exactly what happened.
It's already hard. I would just ask them to not make things harder than they need to be. Jackson Smith and Jigbo wants to get paid. When's that going to happen? We'll discuss next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Your heat seems to be running a lot more than it should. Why? It's because the insulation in your windows has failed. Talk to the pros at Window Nation and get new windows and big savings during Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 free sale. Plus, you could get them with 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. Act now and you'll get an extra 10% off for the rest of the month. When your window insulation fails, usually due to old or cheap materials, all of your window's energy efficiency disappears. The result, a house that is cold in the winter and hot in the summer. The worst part is they could have failed years ago and you wouldn't even know about it. Window Nation's windows use top quality materials and seals along with insulated frames. They're so incredibly energy efficient that you'll actually save money on your utility bills. Plus, they're backed with a lifetime warranty, so you won't have to live with broken windows again. Take advantage of Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 free sale and get an extra 10% off now for the rest of the month. Visit windownation.com now for a free consultation.
It's really been amazing, the amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
At Babs R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement. As the Midwest's fastest growing 5-star bathroom remodeler, we're more than just transformations. We're a community driven by a mission to bring your dreams to life. Our installation team, part of the Babs R Us community, isn't just skilled. They're dedicated to respecting your home. Each day, they bring craftsmanship and hustle, turning your dream space, no matter the size, into reality. Together, we embrace a culture that values diversity, collaboration, and giving back. From supporting local projects to fostering a workplace where every voice is valued. Babs R Us is more than a company. It's a community of experts. We're also expanding locations to create more possibilities for homeowners across the Midwest. Wherever you are, you'll find us ready to turn your dreams into something you can see, feel, and enjoy every day. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BAB to schedule your free estimate or go to babsrus.com. Babs R Us, where dreams soak in.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Ohio has over 920,000 diabetics. If you are a diabetic, take a step in the right direction by having your feet checked routinely by a podiatric physician, the most qualified doctors to care for your feet. Adding a podiatrist to your healthcare team can help you better manage the effects of diabetes on your feet. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A mix of sun and clouds today with highs in the upper 30s and breezy winds. And then for tonight, a short window will see a chance of rain and snow overnight. Most of it should be finished before you even wake up. Little to no accumulation is expected, otherwise mostly cloudy with lows around freezing. For Wednesday, will be mostly cloudy, becoming sunny throughout the day and breezy with highs getting into the upper 40s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
A good question from Chris in the YouTube chat. If Ohio State is playing in Dayton for a spot in the tournament, so if the Buckeyes are in one of those first four play-in games, he asks, would fans be disappointed or satisfied? And he asks, does that count as Bruce Thornton getting into the big dance if they go and lose in Dayton?
It's technically the NCAA tournament, right? So it's
true.
Is
that satisfying, though, for a career that will end for Bruce Thornton as the highest point scorer in the history of the program?
I mean, would you rather it be over losing in the first round of the Big Ten tournament?
I guess if you're giving me one or the other, I'm taking Dayton. And yeah, I think we can consider it as the NCAA tournament, but I do want more for that. So someone else is going to have to help him out. Someone else on this basketball Buckeye team is going to have to help this man out.
I feel like the OSU's job is to get him there. Get Bruce there, and once they're there, then you have a dominant guard that's one of the best in the country. Now it's Bruce's time to shine.
Because it frustrates me so much more, Isaiah, with what happened Sunday in East Lansing. You know, you have Devin Royal sitting out. So if Amari Bynum, if he's sick, but he's at least out on the court, so they've got to at least pay attention to him. Junie Mobley, you never want to question a guy's toughness, but is there any chance that him or Brandon Knoll could go out there for a couple of minutes and provide a decoy? I don't know the answer to the question. I think it would be helpful if there was more transparency about these guys' injuries, because with what you're dealing with right now, 4 games left to go, and you're as bubblicious as it gets, I think it helps to be more communicative with your fan base about where to expect some of these key guys who have to help Bruce Thornton if they're going to make a run at this thing. And by a run at this thing, I mean the NCAA tournament.
So a couple things here. Unfortunately, Isaiah, it's not Ohio State's job. It's Bruce's job at this point, because Bruce isn't going to get any help. Like, this is just what it's going to be. So if Bruce wants to get there, Bruce is going to have to get himself and the team there. The other thing, Reese, I don't want these guys in the game as a decoy. Like, if they can go in there and play,
sure,
then I want them in there playing. Like Devin Royal, I don't know what he could have given you. I don't know what the percentage of Devin Royal was on Sunday, but I have a feeling that 50% of Devin Royal is better than all of Puff Johnson or all of Colin White or all of Gabe Cupps at this point. So get out there. And with the transparency thing that you talk about is so real. And we've heard Jake say a couple times that Brandon Knoll was getting closer and that they hope to have him by the end of the season. But I really don't know what's going on with Brandon Knoll. But John Mobley Jr. is the one. Like, Ted Carter came out and says he has a broken pinky on his shooting hand. Nobody else has said anything else. Then you're in the broadcast, and you see the broadcast put a graphic up of John Mobley Jr. He's sitting on the bench. You obviously see he's got his 2 fingers, his ring finger and his pinky finger on his shooting hand taped together. And on the broadcast, at the bottom of the graphic, it says had hand surgery. So if it's a broken pinky, and I understand it affects the way you shoot, but if it's a broken pinky, tape them together and go play, man. Give us what you can. Now, if it's a surgery and there's like an incision that they're worried about opening that up and it not healing right, you can't throw them out there. I understand that, but you got to let us know. You got to tell us. Because guess what? I don't know if anybody's going to come out and attack John Mobley Jr.'s shooting hand any more than they normally would have.
Yeah.
In a basketball game if they know the answer. So you got to have him, like, let us know what's going on so we don't have to question these things with your team, especially with these guys being paid now. And I don't know what Devin Royal's getting paid. I don't know what John Mobley Jr. is getting paid.
No.
But I'm guessing it's not chump change.
And we're all rooting for Ohio State. We're rooting for Ohio State to make the tournament. We're rooting for Ohio State to have a big run in the Big Ten tournament, then to make the NCAA tournament. And I think to that point, it would help so much if the coaches would just let us in a little bit more. This idea, and it was very Jim Harbaugh-ian of not letting any information out because enemies of the program would use it against you. Like, nobody's actively rooting against this program, at least not on this show, or fans that there are so many Ohio State fans that want this team to succeed that just want to know how things are going with everybody who they need to make a tournament. Run, that it's still baffling. You had mentioned, Jake had talked about what goes into game time decisions. What was with Devin Royal this past Sunday. Here's Jake from his coach's show on that.
I think in today's landscape, Ron, you're as a coach, you're kind of told who's available and who's not. And I think in the case of Devin, like, he was sick really all morning. Went out, tried to warm up, just couldn't quite get to that point where he was comfortable playing. And so, we've seen it, right? Junie had a similar situation last year that he was able to do. So I think in that moment, it kind of comes down to the conversation between trainer, player, like what do you think you can give the team? And so, Amari didn't get to practice the day before because he was sick. But, you're just, I think as a coach, you're just kind of waiting to see, right, who's available and thinking through scenarios. Okay, if this guy's not, how do we move forward? If this guy is, and just kind of playing through those scenarios. And I'm appreciative of, we got a team who's fought through some stuff. I think it's important to acknowledge that guys have shown toughness. They've played hurt. They've played sick. And again, the guys that were out there, they battled so hard. So, that's who we are. It's who we are as a program. It's who we need to be. We need to be a tough-minded, resilient group, and we have that. And I'm thankful to our team for taking on those characteristics.
And I will give them credit because they do fight their asses off on the court. They did on Sunday. They have in a bunch of moments this season. They've played against teams that are more talented than them, or more talented than what they offer out on the court from a 5-on-5 standpoint, and they've outworked them. And the Michigan State game, I should say, even the first game against Michigan, that was good fight and good effort from a team. But that's going to require more for the guys around Bruce.
I have a tough time talking about the fight on this team while we're talking about these situations with the injuries. And you heard Jake there say Devin wasn't comfortable playing. I mean, Michael Jordan in the flu game is one of the greatest games we ever saw, and we still talk about it. And I don't know if Devin Royal had the flu. I don't know what sickness he had. But if he had the flu and it's something contagious, why is he was comfortable enough to sit there and laugh and have a good time with his teammates on the bench? And I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's just you've got to get answers. Like, if he's contagious, he shouldn't be there sitting with the team. And then the other thing, if it's something else, where if it's like a stomach bug or something, where you should at least see him run into the bathroom or a trash can a couple times a game. You didn't see any of that.
You really wanted him to be puking his brains out.
I want you to, you're getting paid a lot of money, and you're fighting for your life here with this team. And you've got a guy in Bruce Thornton who is giving you absolutely everything he has. You've got a guy in Gabe Cupps who may not be the most talented, but he's giving you everything.
He plays his ass off defensively. I'll say that about him.
I want to see you care, too, and get out there and try.
And when are we going to see this team completely together? If you want them to win a game in the Big Ten tournament, if you want them to win a game in March Madness, we have to see Brandon Noel on the floor with Devin Royal and Junie Mobley. And so I don't think that we're going to be able to piecemeal this thing once the tournament gets here. We need these guys to play together to figure it out before we get there.
Well, soon, right? Soon. Working towards it. Again, time is running out. You've got 4 opportunities left. Iowa tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, and then Purdue is in town Sunday at 1:30. The Browns are floating something somewhat explosive, to Buttress Baker's point. We'll discuss that next. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Join us for Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend, February 27th and 28th. We guarantee the best price year-round, and Wedding Weekend adds an advantage you won't find anywhere else. Enjoy preferred bridal pricing up to 30% off for one weekend only. Visit Diamond Seller February 27th and 28th.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. You know, there is no end to the amount of stuff in my garage. I've got bicycles, I've got rollerblades, I've got every basketball, football, baseball, hockey puck, lacrosse, you name it, we've got it in there. If your garage looks like mine, that might be one of the reasons you've put off getting your garage floor fixed. Maybe you've got stains and cracks, bad epoxy job. Whatever the case, if your garage looks bad, that feels bad when you pull in there. But I don't want to have to clean out my garage to get my garage floor fixed, right? Well, good news. Comer & Cross concrete floor coatings, they will come and fix your garage floor in just one day. They will take all the stuff out of your garage so you don't have to. Plus, Comer & Cross, they're all certified, uniformed pros, no subcontractors at Comer & Cross. Get your quick and easy Comer & Cross garage floor estimate now. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR is the number. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com. Get a new garage floor in just one day with Comer & Cross.
Common Man here for my friends at Germain. Germain is having a huge President's Day sales event all month long at all 12 of their Columbus locations. This month and this month only, all qualified pre-owned vehicles come with a 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty on top of the $1,000 price promise. No one's going to sell you a car for less. With nearly 4,000 vehicles and 30 brands, there's only one website you need when shopping for your next car. It's GoGermain.com. That's GoGermain.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
Hey, everybody. It's Jeremy Birmingham Berm from the Austin and Berm Show on 97.1 The Fan. I hit maintenance mode after dropping 35 pounds with Awaken 180. The Awaken 180 coaches made it simple. Now pizza and ice cream are back, but the cravings aren't. That's a complete mindset shift. Awaken180weightloss.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Right Way Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
We'll have to ruthlessly grill Bo Bishop tomorrow at 9:30 on what I'm reading from Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. She says, and this is about an hour ago, the Browns will explore trading down from number 6 in the 2026 NFL Draft. And so her writing says, just like last year, the Browns will explore opportunities in hopes of finding a blockbuster deal like last year. Now, when Mary Kay says something, to me it goes, the Browns are having serious discussions about it. I remember back maybe closer to the 3-quarter mark of the season where she talked about the Browns' discussions of opening the 21-day window for Deshaun Watson. And I think to that as the organization soft launching a plan. And now the Watson news, it will be but forever until the Browns are considering cutting Deshaun Watson. Anything else will be met with vitriol, as it should be. This is not something I would meet with vitriol, or I wouldn't meet this with anger, but as a Browns fan, I would just say, let's stick with 6 and see if you can get Caleb or Carnell. I understand they love draft capital, but maybe for this year, for intents and purposes of this 2026 NFL Draft, maybe don't do that. But I understand having the conversations because you don't leave any stone unturned with this.
So, I think this is very interesting. And Reese, you knew I was someone who said last year I wanted the Browns to trade out of 2 and go back a couple picks and get a guy like a Mason Graham, who I thought was a very safe pick. And you weren't taking Mason Graham at 2. But you trade back, you get an extra first, you take him at 5. I loved that move, and I know a lot of Browns fans didn't. And they thought you should have took Travis Hunter, that he was going to be a game breaker on either side of the ball. I just didn't trust that. I thought there's some bust in Travis Hunter's game, and I thought there was no bust in Mason Graham's game.
Yeah.
If Carnell Tate is gone, and Caleb Down, and I don't. If Caleb Downs falls to 6, I don't think the Browns are taking him. I really don't. And I'm not saying that if he's the best player in the draft, you take him. But on your board, if you have the offensive lineman or the next wide receiver, not that far different from someone else. And I've heard some people talk about that with these offensive linemen. Like the difference between Malioa and Fano is not that much from Lomu and Caden Proctor and Froling from Georgia.
So that the aforementioned Georgia offensive tackle you mentioned, they have, or at least Mel Kiper does, having with that Jacksonville pick, the 24th overall, going to Cleveland.
So if you don't think the difference between those linemen is much, or the next group of receiver, and I don't know where the Browns have Makai Lemon, Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate. I don't know where they have all those guys ranked. But if you don't think the difference is that much, yeah, I don't have a problem with them moving back a little bit. Now, if Carnell Tate's there at 6, I think you sprint to the podium and you draft him.
I mean, it's almost, for me, like a Post-it note, Carnell Tate no matter what. And then you have, an asterisk with, well, if Caleb Downs is there, maybe have the conversation. But I don't expect both of them to be there at 6.
So I understand the Browns having the discussions, right, yes, of doing this just in case. And we don't know who they have, like the offensive linemen. I've heard multiple things on offensive linemen. I've heard Cleveland really liked Caden Proctor.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's true or not? I don't think you're taking Caden Proctor at 6. Maybe you take him at 24 if he's not there. Or maybe you can go back in the draft to 14 or 15 and pick up some extra capital. And then you can get Proctor there. And then maybe you take a Denzel Boston because you think he's a really good wide receiver and you think he's close to a Makai Lemon or a Jordan Tyson or a Carnell Tate. And you get them at a 24. Then that's a win. It's all going to depend on how those first 5 picks go, I think, for this.
Yeah, with that 24th overall selection, and this is the first time I've seen Freeling, the tackle out of Georgia, mocked to Cleveland. But at that position, the 24th overall selection, I think, is where Cleveland should look to pick up the best offensive tackle available. They've got all of their linemen eligible for free agency, or at least eligible to not be on the Cleveland Browns this next upcoming season. So in the first round, I do think that needs to be addressed. I just like playmaker addressed with that 6th overall pick. You had some comments from Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta. So Tyler Linderbaum, who is eligible to be a free agent. This from Scott Petrak of the Elyria Chronicle Telegram. Ravens center Tyler Linderbaum seems like a good free agent fit for the Browns, but Ravens GM Eric DeCosta said at the Combine he's made a market-setting proposal and hopes to get a contract done before Linderbaum becomes a free agent. He also talked about Lamar Jackson, Ravens quarterback, and hoping to get an extension done with him. And now all of this conversation is just that, throwing things at the wall and see what sticks, or see who maybe that the interest gets perked if someone willing to make a trade offer or something in the silly season that we're in with the NFL Combine. But Mel Kiper has, in his mock, several Buckeyes going in the top 10. And we had top man Isaiah look it up. In 2010, Oklahoma had 3 players taken in the top 10 of the draft. That's the most for any single school all time. Mel Kiper's newest one this morning has Caleb going number 2 to the New York Jets, Caleb Downs. At 4, Orville Reese goes to the Tennessee Titans. At 6, Carnell Tate goes to the Cleveland Browns. At 7, Sonny Styles gets picked up by the Washington Commanders. Now, for what it's worth, the Bengals are picking up Ruben Bain, the defensive end out of Miami, which I think would be an absolute home run for them there. It's something that they haven't been able to make work, Cincinnati and a defender with the top pick, but it doesn't mean if that's that's the position of most need, and I think it is for Cincinnati because they're losing Trey Hendrickson, and Shamar Stewart was interesting with the conversation around Shamar, right, Bake, where you had college guys saying, well, we didn't hear much of him at Texas A&M, but he was an absolute physical specimen. So Cincinnati picked him when they did. And the first season, probably not the way you'd want to pick at that kind of level to go for you when you need that production.
Yeah, and the Bengals, if you get a Ruben Bain at 10, I think you're
be pretty
happy as could be. If somehow, I don't think this happens, somehow like Caleb Downs falls to 10, you're running to the podium, I would feel, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. If you're the Bengals at 10, best defensive player available because you need help all over the field on the defensive side of the ball.
I'm also looking in Mel Kiper's most recent mock at 25. He's got Ohio State's Caden McDonald going to the Chicago Bears. 27, so the tackle that I like, Caden Proctor from Alabama, he's going 27th to the San Francisco 49ers. This was from WFAA in Dallas. Jackson Smith and Jigba had an interview with one of his hometown outlets, and the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year says he should be the league's highest paid wide receiver. Quote, I'm really not too pressed about it right now to get it done. I know my time is coming, and when we get it done, it's going to be a great deal. God's timing is perfect timing, so whenever that may come, we'll be ready for it. I believe I deserve to be the highest paid in my position. Just what I give to the game and the community, I give it my all, and I think that's worth a lot more. ESPN says the Seahawks plan to work out new deals this offseason for JSN and for Devin Witherspoon, their Pro Bowl cornerback. Seattle can exercise a fifth-year option for both of those guys on May 1st. And Smith and Jigba set a franchise record and led the NFL with 1,700 receiving yards. Jamar Chase is the highest paid receiver in terms of annual average at $40.25 million. JSN getting more than that?
I mean, you would think he would because he's next up. Now, should he? I don't know. Jackson Smith and Jigba had a great year. He is proving to be one of the best receivers in the league. His route running is elite. Am I ready to say he's better than Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson? I don't know if I'm ready to say that he's better than them, but he's in the conversation with them. So those guys have signed extensions already. It just makes sense that he's next up and he'll get a little bit more. I was super impressed with JSN this year, and we saw him here at Ohio State and saw how good he was. And I talk all the time about how I thought it was crazy at that Rose Bowl that Wilson and Olave both said that JSN was better than they were. They might have been right because JSN had himself a year this year. And I think he will end up being the top paid wide receiver. Now, that'll only be for a minute because Amon St. Brown or someone else will come behind and get a big deal, or Chase will want a new deal, or Jefferson. But he would be deserving.
And one of the reasons, too, is because of the versatility. He plays in the slot and on the outside. But Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, more outside vertical threats. But one of the reasons that this is so great for JSN is because he played at Ohio State. What did we see him do here? Really worked in the slot because he had Olave and Garrett Wilson on the outsides. Now he goes to the next level and is immediately valuable to the Seahawks just because he's able to run the entire route tree from the outside and inside. And so that's been his argument this whole season. I'm the most versatile receiver. I have the most yards, and I've been essentially the best receiver of the entire season. Pay me my bag.
Yeah, I think versatility equals tremendous value there. So Jamar Chase, highest average annual at 40.25. Justin Jefferson, second, $35 million. That feels like a very interesting chasm for both of those wide receivers out of LSU. We'll do three things on a Tuesday. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at AmazonBusiness.com.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
After Max Clare declared for the NFL draft and Will Kazmarek graduated, Ohio State added Ohio transfer Mason Williams and Northwestern transfer Hunter Welsing to the tight end room, two veterans who bring familiarity and experience to the program. Head coach Ryan Day on the additions of Williams and Welsing.
We have a seventh-year guy in Hunter who came in from Northwestern who, when you watch him play, up north in the game at Wrigley, he had a heck of a game. Really has been through a lot in his career, but we think he can provide a bunch of stuff for us. And then Mason came from the same school as Will. Talking to the guys there once he was in the portal, you just call down there and you ask the coaches, hey, and they say, yeah, like he's got the right mentality, he's got a toughness to him, he's got a gamesmanship to him. So we're hoping those guys can bring some veteran leadership there and some depth. And again, do a lot of the dirty work for us.
This report brought to you by Safe Light Auto Glass. This is Tyler Danberg on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. SafeLight Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Buckeye fans, choose chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes those moments when you choose to rise above the noise and choose chill even better. Coors Light is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, so crack one open and take a sip. Coors Light, choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, beer.
For over 37 years, Buckeye Nation has known Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse for serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks are a staple in Columbus, with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. And just like the Buckeyes, we strive for excellence and an experience like no other. Hyde Park is proud to introduce the newly added wine room at our downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining surrounds you, creating the ideal setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Around here, it's all-wheel drive all year round, and Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone. Now through March 2nd, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 26 Corolla or Corolla Hybrid, excludes GR and Corolla Cross, or lease a new gas-powered Corolla LE for $199 a month for 39 months with $36.99 due at signing, with approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details, or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Looking to grow your money in 2026? Kemba Financial Credit Union has secure savings options to fit your lifestyle. From everyday savings to high-yield certificates and flexible money market accounts, your money works harder here. It's a better way to bank. Rooted locally and powered by real people across Central Ohio who are committed to making a lasting difference, empowering you to meet and exceed your financial goals. Check today's rates at kemba.org/rates. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Let me ask you a question. Has the insulation in your windows failed? How would you know? Well, one way to tell is if you're running the heat this winter way more often than you normally do. That could be a sign that that insulation has failed and you need new windows. Talk to the pros at Window Nation to find out what they can do to help. In fact, they've got a great deal going now. You can get new windows with big savings during Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 free sale. Plus, you could get them with 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. And as an added benefit, you'll get an extra 10% off for the rest of the month. Window Nation's windows use top quality materials and seals along with insulated frames. They're so incredibly energy efficient, you actually save money on your utility bills. And they're backed with a lifetime warranty, so you won't have to live with broken windows again. Take advantage of Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 free sale and get an extra 10% off for the rest of the month. You already know. Go to windownation.com now for a free consultation. That's windownation.com.
Hey, folks, winter is here. The number one cost for everyone each month are those pesky heating bills that never stop increasing. It is time to take action and do something about it. Call USA Insulation today and get your home insulated with our premium foam for only $99 a month, interest-free. That's right, $99 a month. You can have a warm, cozy home that you and your family deserves. 529-2440, 529-2440, or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, so this coming down the pipe from Ohio State a couple minutes ago. Buckeyes are going to be hosting Purdue Sunday, March 1st at 1:30. It'll be a wear-white game at the Schottenstein Center. You got 4 chances. Basketball Buckeyes, 4 chances for Jake Diebler's squad to get Bruce Thornton into the NCAA tournament. Right now, they are one of, if not the most bubblicious team in the country. The Daily Fan poll today asks, who's got the tougher coaching job this upcoming season? Arthur Smith or Ohio State defensive coordinator Matt Patricia? Bake, I'll pose that to you before reading the results.
So for this year, I would think it's going to be Matt Patricia because the offense is the known quantity this year. You've got Julian Sayin coming back. You know what you have in him. You've got Bo Jackson coming back. You know what you have in him. You have mostly a returning offensive line, I believe, out of the top 7 players on the offensive line. The only one that's not there anymore is the one that caused the most consternation last year in Integra Shabola. So, and of course, you have Jeremiah Smith. So I think for this year, it's going to be Matt Patricia.
I agree. 62% of respondents to the Daily Fan poll, though, say it's Arthur Smith. But Arthur Smith's got, like you said, he's got Jeremiah. He's got Julian. He's got Bo Jackson, Matt Patricia. Now, we had this question last offseason when you're replacing so much talent. I think you have more to replace going into 2026 for Matt Patricia on that defensive side than he did coming out of the Jim Knowles era.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
First thing out of me, on February 24th, I am comfortable in saying the Cleveland Guardians will not lose a game in 2026 in the Cactus League. They beat the Diamondbacks 9-5. They're 4-0. If you care that much about baseball. I'm still interested to see if Royce Hoskins enters the lineup. But Ramirez had 4 RBI in yesterday's game.
I believe the game today for the Guards is on TV, so if you want to watch a little Cactus League baseball, former Cincinnati Red great Stuart Fairchild in center field for the Guards today. We talked about this earlier. The day Jose Ramirez retires, put the statue up and nobody wears number 11.
Yeah, it's Guardians-Dodgers at 3:05. Boy. See that on MLB TV or the Major League Baseball Network.
This was circulating social media yesterday. In 2019, before the NHL draft, ESPN asked Jack Hughes to write a letter to his future self. And one of the passages from that letter 7 years ago has made it out. Your brothers made you who you are on and off the ice. I hope they'll be able to say you did the same for them and that they had great NHL careers too. Maybe you even suited up with them a couple of times in the NHL. Maybe we all represented the United States at the Olympics or World Championships. Maybe we won a gold medal or gold medals together. What an honor that would be. A little bit of foreshadowing there from Jack Hughes, who, of course, plays with his brother Luke on the New Jersey Devils, played with his brother Quinn at the Olympics for the United States and won that gold. Kind of chilling to see that come to fruition 7 years later, and very cool for that family. I also just read something about their mom and how she would have made the Olympics, but they didn't put women's hockey in. They waited. It's a pretty fascinating story. Go check it out. Read up on the Hughes brothers' mother, because it is an awesome story. That family is just hockey all the way.
And it feels like the storylines from this past Sunday are just continuing to develop. There's unlimited. You could take that story in so many different directions. It's unbelievable.
Just real quick, Ellen Weinberg Hughes, their mom, is a player development consultant for Team USA women's hockey. So two of the more dominant hockey performances you saw at this past Winter Olympics have the Hughes name all over it.
It's insanity. Mine today, the Indianapolis Combine is going on right now for the NFL. Bo's over there. And I have to think back to my time. I spent a long time in Indy years ago working at the Fan over there. And I would tell you one of my least favorite events that I ever attended was the Combine, for multiple reasons. You get in there, it's one, Lucas Oil, freezing cold. Number two, you're not allowed to have your phones at any point in time out. What? So you can't take video, you can't be texting anyone, and if you do pull out your phone while in attendance, they have security guards that are standing there that will walk down to you. You get one warning, and then you're escorted out. And so they run you through this whole thing before you sit down. You cannot use your phone the entire time. This was probably 5 years ago. You can't use your phone while you're in there. You can't be taking videos. And also, when you're watching these players run the 40s and do all the different events, it's not very exciting in person. I was there for probably 2 to 3 hours, and by the time we were done with me and my friends, I was ready to roll out.
I have seen where they're selling tickets to go and just watch these things. And were they, when you were there, well attended?
It was well attended, yeah. They only have a portion of the stands. One was just the end zone where they had people seated. It wasn't very expensive to go, but it was not worth anyone's money that was there.
Second thing for me, 971therace.com. We're doing it again at Otterbein in Westerville this upcoming June 20th. That's Saturday at 8 a.m. 1 mile walk, 5K run, and then the 971. It's about 6 miles In our second year of this, just want to thank our partners at M3S, thank Otterbein University, thank Westerville Fire, PD, and EMS for that. If you're interested in doing one of those or just coming out and hanging out with everybody here at The Fan, Saturday, June 20th at Otterbein, 971therace.com for registration and for more information. Really excited to be doing that for year 2.
We talked about this last week that Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson were going to have an exhibition match sometime this spring. Well, now Floyd Mayweather Jr. says he's coming out of retirement and he's going to box Manny Pacquiao in a professional rematch September 19th at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Pacquiao came out of retirement last July and he fought the then WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios to a majority draw. And now Pacquiao's going to be in an exhibition April 18th as well. Like 15 years ago, we needed to see this fight and we never got it. We got it too late. Now we're going to get it even later. I don't need this. Make it stop, please.
Next one for me. The entire Buckeye basketball season has been so frustrating. And the part that's frustrated me the most is as we creep towards March Madness, it feels like we should be talking about the teams that we have left, like Iowa and Purdue, as opportunities to raise our seed in the actual March Madness. Can we get from an 11 seed to an 8 seed if we win these games? And so it's so frustrating that we're begging to win one. Can we win one and just be an 11 seed and get in? Why are we not talking about can we win all these games left on our slate and be a 7 or 8 seed in a lock? But that's just not where the program's at right now, which is so disappointing.
Yeah, it's you're running out of time if you're Jake Diebler and company. We are running out of time to give you 3 things from all of us. We'll just do this final thing and thank you for listening. Bake, it was good for me. Hopefully it was good for you. We will be back tomorrow. Joshua Perry will join us in studio. We'll go out 9:30 on Wednesday, a first Friday to talk to Bo Bishop at the NFL Scouting Combine. So keep it here on The Fan. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Bishop and Friends, 9 to noon tomorrow, right here on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio.